Gold, will he have time between his very busy podcast schedule? He couldn't even spare 3 minutes for this show. You think he's got time to be the general manager of a Division I college football program? Has Bill considered that?
He quit his VSiN job for it, obviously.
But not the podcast
Not
job.
the podcast
None
job.
of that.
I'm not sure. But no, like in all seriousness, the setup I actually think can work. I really do for Belichick. Is he going to be there all 5 years? I don't know. But you need a GM to handle the recruiting aspect, to handle the NIL. You need basically a scouting department along with that recruiting. These college programs are going to be set up like NFL teams. And so I'm fascinated to see how it works out, because if it does, I think we'll see other universities try to model this. Bring in more NFL people, maybe past NFL GMs, maybe past NFL coaches more and more, because they know this is not new to them. Now, the college coach that's done it like Nick Saban for 30 years isn't used to operating this way, so he wants out.
Back,
Bill Belichick's like, I've had to do this crap in the NFL. I can do this in college. We're going to find out, but I find it to be fascinating.
Now, I'll say, this is stunning. Like, for the obvious reasons, which is, I think the NFL, and this always goes back to the same thing, never let anyone convince you that everyone running an NFL team or all NFL owners are smart. Not hiring Bill Belichick and instead choosing these other coaches is stupid. Like for instance, if you're the Bears and you kept Matt Eberflus, and instead you could have had Bill Belichick, the single most successful coach in NFL history, you're an idiot. You have made your decision. That was a stupid one. You could have had an established coach who knew what he was doing, even in the times in which his offense was bleak, because they didn't have the quarterback play. And look, he was partially responsible for that as the person who was drafting the quarterback. He still maintained top 10 defenses essentially every single second he exists in the NFL. The NFL gave Dennis Allen a second job. They gave Adam Gase another bite at the apple. Like, are you kidding me? Bill Belichick and his 6 Super Bowl rings,
I know,
they're not good enough for another chance, because this is what this is about. The NFL told Bill Belichick he's not getting another job again in the league. And I find that mind-blowing. What I'll say about the college is I do think it'll work, because I think Bill Belichick immediately will have a top 20 college football defense this second. He's been confusing NFL quarterbacks for 25 years. And you're trying to tell me that all of a sudden he can't get Mensa over at Duke a little lost in coverage? Pretty sure he'll be fine.
I agree with you there. I mean, coaching-wise, I don't think that's anybody's concern. Like, can he coach? Duh, he can coach.
Yeah.
It's how does he navigate NIL and all this? But I actually think he'll do better than we think, because he's not going to be on the road going to random small town to go have dinner with Billy's parents, and convince Billy to come to North Carolina. That's not what he's going to be doing. He's going to rely on others to kind of do that, and they will sell, hey, you want to have a guy that's won more rings just about than anybody coaching you. He knows how it's going to take to get you to the NFL. That's going to be their selling point for Belichick. And if they're going to have the massive NIL budget it looks like they're going to have, well, then we know ultimately players are choosing schools solely because of money now more than ever. And so they'll be able to do all of that, and we'll see. I think they'll compete in the ACC right away. Can they win it? I don't know, but they'll be competing in the ACC immediately. What you said about the NFL, I also believe some of it has to be that he knew the NFL wasn't going to hire him. And this is also a way to save face. Too. He saves the embarrassment of going through 2 NFL coaching cycles and not getting hired. We know he interviewed for the Falcons job last year. They decided not to hire him. I think he knew, and his agent knew, and that's why the North Carolina job stuff was leaking out for about a week almost, and they were waiting like, hey, he's really like, no, my client's like serious about this. You sure you guys aren't gonna give him a look and hire him?
He's gonna really take this college
saves
job.
Face there. He also sets his son up potentially to be a head coach down the road. It makes more and more sense when we really step back, but it's still, of course, one of the most stunning things that has happened in coaching.
If I had mentioned this to you 5 years ago, you would have laughed me out the building.
I would have laughed at you last year.
If I told you 5 years ago, Bill Self will one day coach North Carolina college football, you'd be like, is there a different person named Bill Belichick?
More and more schools, though, are going to be set up like NFL front offices. And it makes sense to have like essentially a capologist. If you're going to have $20 million in NIL money to manage, you need someone, not the head coach, to figure out how to divide out the money and how we're going to spend and what position we're going to be willing to spend more money to and all these kind of things. The benefit for any of these new coaches coming in, though, in Belichick, even though it's a quick turnaround, is we know he can fix the roster like that with the transfer portal. Maybe to the extent that Deion's doing it, I don't know, but it's kind of similar in that regard. I don't know if he's bringing his Louis with him or not, but he's going to have an opportunity to flip the roster.
This is such a big news that we can't even joke about the fact that Rich Rodriguez is the head coach at West Virginia again.
Yes.
Like, I mean, it's like that should be funny news in college football, and yet we can't because of this Bill Belichick stuff. I'll say he's in for one rude awakening based on the very long Seth Wickersham piece, who's obviously been all around the New England Patriots and has good inroads on what typically has been happening inside the Bill Belichick camp. One of the quotes from the story was, he got tired of the politics of the NFL. And oh boy, Bill, do I have some bad news for you. If you thought there were a lot of politics in the NFL, college football operates at a completely different, absolute insane mode version of that. Because there's the politics of parents, as you mentioned, and recruiting, and boosters, and glad handing, and alumni, and other it's a whole nother mess of politics. It goes far beyond the politics of the NFL because in that case, you can shut out 2/3 of it if you just choose to. In college, you kind of have to play the game from all sides. Right. You got no choice.
To your point there, I mean, look what just happened with the college football playoff and the controversy of Alabama thinking they got screwed or Ole Miss thinking they got screwed. Wait till Bill Belichick's got a team right on the edge of the college football playoff and he thinks his team should be in and he's got to deal with that and why, think about all of that. I think ultimately, and most people have texted this in and it goes back to the model and why it works. What you were saying about how you don't think the NFL, what you're surprised maybe the NFL teams weren't willing to.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
We know in Atlanta last year, he wanted to have full control. He gets full control at North Carolina. He got to hire everybody he wants, and he is in charge. He may not be doing everything, but he's calling the shots. Even if Michael Lombardi is going to be his GM, Bill Belichick is hiring people that are aligned with him. And Atlanta or whoever is not willing to let him jump in and just basically like clean out the entire front office and get all his cronies in there. Like that's
that's dead in the NFL forever now because if they weren't going to give it to Bill, they weren't going to give it to anybody. The Bill Belichick era of the NFL is dead. None of his disciples still coach in the NFL. He doesn't coach in the NFL, and nobody has control like he once had control. There used to be 3, 4, 5, 6, even more, obviously, as time went on. Andy is still like the closest to that because if you still made me rank out the people with the biggest say inside their organization, Andy Reid might be the only remaining head coach that I would rank number one ahead of the general manager. Agreed?
Like maybe Mike Tomlin a little bit now, but other than that, yes, Tomlin. I'm with you.
Maybe Tomlin, although their GM's been, they're pretty well established in that department and have been for a long time. Like if it came to push came to shove and it was a GM versus head coach, one of these two get to make the decision. Andy's making the decision here. And it was always Bill in the other end. But he always told, so I guess part of this is like a lack of belief. He was telling these people he didn't have to have full control. By all accounts, he was telling them, it's cool, man.
Yeah.
I'll be the coach. And nobody bought it as a part of it because that's not the way that he's operated all these years. I understand because someone's always going to be like, what has he ever done without Tom Brady? I get it.
Well, that's the part
he doesn't have a lot of success with Tom Brady,
to,
but he had so much success with Tom. It's crazy.
I don't think this is why he's going to college, but that's the other layer in terms of what it could do for his legacy. If he goes to North Carolina, goes down to the college level, and gets them in the college football playoff and has success in 3 years or whatever right away, that will favor him. In terms of because right now everybody just remembers, he didn't do a damn thing without Brady. If he goes down to the college level, it's not the NFL, but if he goes to the college level and gets North Carolina in the mix for a national title, and as far as I'm concerned, if you make the college football playoff, that counts as being in the mix for a national title.
I think so. Yeah.
If he does that, that's going to be something that increases how people feel about his coaching legacy. Because right now, and we'll talk about the Andy Reid angle later, this is a big deal for Andy Reid's case when it's all said and done for being the greatest coach of all time, not just in the wins, but how it's going to go down for him in the final, 5-7 years of his career.
And I know when we talk about it, this is like the thing that never made any sense to me. Andy Reid talks exactly like Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick once used to say, I'm not going to coach. He, in a quoted article, once said, I'm not going to coach into my 70s. He's 73 and he just went back to college, dude. He's Rodney Dangerfield. He's going back to school? This is crazy.
And he's got a girlfriend that's like 24. I mean, this whole. If again, you said what you would have said to me 5 years ago. Just think about what's transpired in the last 2 years.
If I had Biff, if I had Biff's, sports atlas, and you're like, Cody, I'm not. There's no way I'm buying anything you're selling. That this is how this is going to go down. But it's
Like his girlfriend was on Instagram saying, "We're headed to, we're on to Chapel Hill or whatever." Like she's all in on this thing too. I love it. It's hilarious.
But
do you think the circumstance there where she maybe is getting her master's, do you think they are still together in like a year? Like, or does Bill eventually just go all in football mode again? And now like he's like, I'm done
it's
with
a dangerous game
with
on like a college campus,
But the yeah, it is. The way he talks, like Andy Reid has never given any indication that he's ever considered not coaching football. And we talk about Bill Belichick like he's young and kicking his heels and ready to coach till he's dead. But Andy, like, he's just always like seconds away from retiring. He might quit tomorrow. Who knows? And so, like, part of it is just crazy. I'm surprised that a coach of his caliber with his resume would consider coaching college football. That's it.
Yeah.
I just can't believe that he would even consider it an option versus just retiring. At 72, if the NFL just decided I couldn't be a coach anymore, I would just do it on my terms and be like, I thought about it and I had this year off. I like doing the media thing. I'm out. And I would make it seem like, even if I had asked people behind closed doors, I would make it seem like it was my choice to walk away from the game.
And that's what I
just go back to coach North Carolina.
I just want to know how he's going to handle, whether it's media, whether you said the donors and everything too, because we know that when he was in New England, he was just ultimate old grumpy curmudgeon. Like that's just how he went about his business. Now he's doing all this media stuff, and you're like, wow, he's got
reporter asking him a question.
You're like, oh, he's got some personality. He's actually we all knew he's very, very intelligent, but just he was a jerk. Let's just call it like it is. Yeah. He was a jerk. Now, on a college campus, is he gonna is this going to be a new Bill Belichick?
I think so.
In terms of how we interact, are we going to listen to these press conferences and be like, wow, where was this the last 15 years or whatever? And I know some people are like, who cares how he interacts with the media? I'm talking about even when he interacts with, donors and players. Like there's going to have to be some shift, I think, for it to work and how he goes about his business. And we'll see, obviously, what happens. I do disagree with somebody on the text line that says basically that Bill had the best of the NFL. Why do we think that he's going to be able to have success with building a championship team with 17 and 24-year-olds? Look, the jury will be out, but I would say
deny his coaching ability defensively.
And he's going to have one of the top NIL budgets in the country. In the NFL, everybody had the same salary cap. He's going to have a leg up for a little bit on the NIL salary cap. I call it salary cap. That's basically what it is. Yeah, NIL budget. He reportedly is going to have a top 5 to 7 NIL budget in the country. That's why he can do it, because ultimately there's a lot of kids out there are only going to choose the money, and good for them.
Yeah. I mean, look, Tulsa just lost a future NFL prospect at quarterback after his freshman year to Duke. Do you think he went to Duke because he just thought, yeah, okay? No, he went there because there was more money there than there was at Tulane for him in this previous year. Mm-hmm. A lot of times that's just going to happen in the portal. And so if you've got money, you at least have a chance in college football. And I'll just be honest. You can question his ability to run and manage an offense outside of Tom Brady. I will listen to that. Even in the last 2 years as a New England head coach in which he was coaching a defense with scraps, he ran a top 5 defense. Bill Belichick is we can talk about greatest coach of all time. Bill Belichick is the single greatest defensive coach in NFL history. Whether you put him as the best coach overall, that's probably yet to be seen. And Andy is obviously going to get another boost because Bill Belichick's never going to coach in the NFL ever again.
I agree.
Which means Andy's going to get to just rack up whatever he can rack up for the rest of the way. But Bill Belichick is the single greatest defensive coach in NFL history. Totally. He just is.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. 913-586-7965, Jay Southland Toaster's text line. We're also on video, streaming, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. People consistently now in the wintertime are looking behind me on video, and they said, is there a fire? There's constantly smoke going up behind you. That's just from the furnace or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's... But there's no fire. I can promise you.
It is funny on video, like seeing it actually, yes, in the background.
Yes, this hot takes, right? There's hot takes flowing behind me. Yeah, that's what it is. Does that in the wintertime.
It'd be a problem if the building was on fire. Would you help save anybody in your building?
It'd be a big problem. I would also say the fire alarm's not going off would be really problematic.
I mean...
Now, we're only on a 3-story building. I mean, if you had to, it's definitely jumpable without having too serious of a problem, other than maybe a broken leg.
I think you'd break something.
Yeah, but if that... Or die. I mean, you know what I mean? Like if...
Yeah, that's fair.
Do you think you
I don't
could
even
break
want to think about that situation?
Two-pane
yes.
window. Do you think you? There's basically double glass, so like
looks pretty thick, man.
I bet you throw a chair through there, it's cracking.
I was gonna say a chair would
Just
be the only
lift the
thing.
chair
In
and
fairness,
toss.
Scott Parks once told us in the same glass. He told us
That's
somebody
different.
got fired
No,
once because
that's different glass behind you.
He said somebody broke one of these panels once and they got axed.
Yeah, that's different. This is like thin window, little gap, and then
well,
another.
then, yeah,
like,
we can break it.
if you look, there's like almost you can almost walk before you get to the next window.
Well,
Anyway.
Plus, you could jump onto one of the trees, at least from my vantage point.
Someone says the smoke is either for the hot takes or you guys blow smoke out your asses. Is what somebody said.
In this case, it looks more like it's blowing out your ass because it's just coming directly from behind you. But, either way, it works out the same. Someone says you can also see that I wear the UMKC jacket a lot. I do. This is my
You do.
light.
That's your favorite.
This is my lightweight winter jacket.
You need to get a new one. I feel like it's got
I
a little.
do.
You got a little.
Yeah,
a
it's a little beat up.
Yeah, you need a
little
little
beat up.
stain or something all of a sudden.
Yeah, try to clean it up.
You're a
Little
professor
beat
at
up.
the university.
Yeah.
They don't have like a
You
bookstore.
should get one that says Professor Tap.
Professor Tap? I'm not getting one that says Professor Tap.
Anyway, let's talk about the Chiefs for a bit. We'll get back to the Belichick stuff throughout the show because it is fascinating. But yesterday, Patrick Mahomes, you heard him right here during Cody and Gold. He was talking about the offense, and specifically, he was asked about Xavier Worthy. And there's been a lot of discussions about that relationship and chemistry. And I think we've all agreed that they're all like one or two deep pass connections away from us looking at the numbers in the rookie year way differently. And maybe we also need to keep an eye on what's happened in the last 4 games in particular. But here's what Mahomes said about the growth here recently of Worthy since the Buffalo game.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting better and better. I think he's just playing with such more confidence. I think it really started in Buffalo, and it's kind of kept getting bigger and bigger as we kind of went throughout the rest of this year. I think as like we said, as we're trading those deep passes and really show off his skill doing that, he's getting open. So just trying to hit him on some of those, but he's showing his versatility and how he's able to work underneath, catch the ball, get yards after catch, and stuff like that. And I think he's going to continue to get better and better, which is going to help us going into the postseason.
Look at the last 4, man.
Honestly, I was a little bit surprised. I also was like, yeah, Worthy's playing a little better, I think. But it wasn't like standing out in a way because when Worthy stands out, I would think he hadn't caught a 50-yard touchdown. So is he playing better? The answer is yes, and not just yes, significantly yes. So I'm going to give you the 4 games before he played because I want to tell you like the standard at which he was playing and now what he's playing now. The 4 games before the Buffalo game started, he had 1 catch for 11 yards, 0 for 0, 4 for 37, and 3 for 19. 1 touchdown between those 4 games. That's pretty medial, right? I mean, that's nothing. That's essentially not a factor in the offense. The last 4 games since Buffalo, 4 for 61, a touchdown, 4 for 46, 5 for 54, and 5 for 41. He's averaging 4.5, 5 catches a game and 50 yards a game. That is an 850-yard pace over a 17-game season. That is an 850-yard pace with 6 touchdowns over a 17-game season. I think I kind of lost sight that Xavier Worthy has gotten way better, and now all of a sudden it has me thinking about the exact time it clicked for Rashee Rice last year and why this is an almost identical week to that. So, I don't know if I'd call it a full Rashee Rice run, but I don't think I want to rule out the fact that Xavier Worthy, I think he might be getting ready to go through the same transformation, which means Xavier Worthy can end up being a way bigger piece of this offense over the next month.
Well, I think it is in the process of happening right now. I don't know if it's
it's like in the middle of happening.
I think it's clearly starting to click. I also believe when Hollywood Brown is available, and I know we got to be careful what to expect for a guy that hasn't played all year, but let's say it's the Steelers game where Hollywood Brown starts to work back in. What does that do for everybody else? You would like to think that it should help literally everybody else in this offense. That's not going to lose reps. I mean, it should help Worthy. It should help, of course, DeAndre Hopkins to have Hollywood Brown out there. But to your point about Rashee Rice, and this is what's interesting, and it's funny how everybody assumes like Rashee Rice last year was just great the entire year, and we all know that's just not the case. So last year, look at what Rice did. All of a sudden, I would say, if we're being fair,
week 7, 8,
it was week 6 he had 4 for 72.
Yeah, but week 3, Xavier had that. I mean, one-offs don't count.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But that's when and then he had 2 catches against Miami. But from week 10 on, Rice, 4 for 42, 8 for 107, 8 for 64. 7 for 72, 9 for 91, 6 for 57, 5 for 127. So honestly, the big uptick was week 11. Week 11.
That sound familiar to you? What week did they play the Bills?
Week 11.
Weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to ignore the timing of it. Like, all right, how long does it take you to get comfortable with Patrick Mahomes, and how long does it take you to get comfortable with Andy Reid's offense? And it appears week 11 is about the sweet spot. Look, I don't think he's going to put up the numbers from week 11 on that he was able to put up with Rashee Rice because Rashee Rice was more of a volume monster. But I had told you, and you had said you noticed the exact same thing. Funny enough, we were making separate observations. But during that time, you and I both noticed one very obvious thing, which was Xavier Worthy started running Rashee Rice routes. There was a couple of drag routes in this last game that I'm confident with 100% accuracy that used to be Rashee's route. This big, long drag across the field where Mahomes, on one play, flipped it over to him in kind of perfect stride with pressure that got a first down. That's Rashee Rice's route. His yards per target have been going down, but there's no question that his targets have been going up. Rashee Rice, for the final 6 games last year, he did not play in Week 17 because they didn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
He had 43 catches for 518 yards. I mean, do I think that Xavier Worthy is going to finish with that over the final 6 games? No, he has like 200 yards over the last 4 since Week 11, not 300, not 350. But I think you can get like 80% of Rashee Rice from Xavier Worthy the rest of the way, which, based on the beginning of the season, is a big difference in output.
And we still know the opportunity down the field once a game at least should be there. I said it 2 minutes ago, but what we don't know, the Hollywood Brown part of this is really interesting and how that could impact it, because Hollywood Brown, we know, can stretch the field as well. And maybe this year the deep connection's just not going to be there for Worthy and Mahomes. And so when they get Brown back, maybe that's the guy that they attempt that with. And just because he's a veteran in this league, Hollywood Brown's able to connect with Mahomes, and that's their solution for this year. Or it's Hollywood Brown is actually going to be able to take these underneath routes, Cody, and then it will just be Worthy down the field. Something's going to happen there. We don't know what that's going to look like. But time and time again, I go back to the fact that Hollywood Brown, route running ability, Mahomes mentioned all offseason, Pat, OTAs, he went through all of that, and Mahomes acknowledged that the route running ability of Hollywood Brown was better than they thought. So maybe there's a chance where Worthy doesn't have the underneath stuff like he's doing during this stretch, and that goes to Brown, and it's Worthy that is down the field connecting. I mean, they're going to have a couple more options when Hollywood Brown's available. The key with that is going to be to ramp Hollywood up by the time they get to the playoffs. So if it's 30% of the snaps, week 16, 17, 18, fine.
Even if it's so, this also gives me hope for we care more about this year in general, which we should. Right. But even if it plateaus, and this is just kind of what Xavier Worthy is, right, Colt? He doesn't continue to take that leap forward the way that Rashee Rice did, because Hollywood Brown comes back and he nips some of it in the bud. This 4-game run equates an entire season for Sky Moore his rookie year. So, if you're just I don't know if this Xavier Worthy guy's in, and he can't find wide receiver, which is stuff I've heard from fans claiming that there's somehow some comparable comparison between Sky Moore and what Xavier Worthy's done this year. Just these last 4 games is 203 yards for Xavier Worthy. 244 yards was Sky Moore's entire rookie season.
Just watch them play.
Xavier Worthy has tremendous upside still. I think it was Dusty yesterday in the bullpen who was asking us, if you could just take any of the rookie wide receivers in a redraft. No, I'd still take some of the ones you'd think. I'd still take Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors and some of the guys who got taken above Xavier Worthy. But if you start lumping them in with all the unproven guys, I'll keep Xavier, thanks.
Right. I mean, just the Sky Moore part. I mean, we've just watched Worthy play. I mean, it's light years different between.
Well, I even think that you would take Xavier Worthy over Rome Odunze, who went 9th.
I would.
In the draft.
Right now,
he has not had a good rookie year, and the reason why I would be interested in not taking him now, honestly, is more and more we're finding out that his dad might be a pain in the ass. And in the NFL, you usually don't see the dad interfering.
Yeah.
I mean, Odell Beckham's dad got him out of Cleveland basically by doing that. But that's already happening. That was easy for Beckham, who's established. Odunze's dad is out here tweeting consistently my son, if he was basically with a different team, would have had 1,500 yards and stuff like this. I don't like that already going on. That seems like it might be a problem. But Odunze's been very disappointing in his 2024 rookie campaign. That is for sure. All right, coming up next, we'll get away from the NFL just for a bit because there's some reports out there about what a few Royals players might be willing to do after the Jonathan India trade and where they could play. That's coming up next on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Winter clearance time over at Volkswagen Lee Summit, their biggest discounts of the year. No better time to buy, and you can look that up. I mean, if you just get on Google, when's the best time to buy a car? End of the year, that's the best time to buy a car, and especially at Volkswagen Lease Summit because they're running tremendous deals. Atlas or Atlas Cross Sports for up to $8,000 off. Jetta, Taos, Tiguan's up to $5,000 off MSRP over at Volkswagen Lease Summit. I didn't get that deal in the spring. You can get a better deal than me. I got 0% APR for up to 60 months on my loan. Or if maybe you're just looking, maybe you like to lease cars, that sign and drive leases are available for 0 down and 0 next month. It is a great place to buy a new car. They have a massive selection. I was buying 2 different cars that had the Volkswagen Lease Summit tag yesterday in a drive-through. I mean, they're all over the metro because they're one of the largest dealers in the metro dealing with Volkswagen. So if you're looking for a Volkswagen like I did, a car that I drove, Jet I drove for 11 years before this, and I'm planning on getting at least that, if not more, out of my Tiguan as well. You want a reliable car, go to Volkswagen Lease Summit. Don't miss out. Check out their new and used selection at VWLeaseSummit.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located off 105th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, December 13th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Man, you need to look great for holiday events. Let Peter's Clothiers give you the perfect fit you're looking for. From jackets to suits to trousers and more, in sizes to fit every man. PetersClothiers.com or stop in today at 124th and State Line.
'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring except the 2024 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to a charity of your choice to help those in need this holiday. These charities include the ASPCA, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Meals on Wheels, and the National Park Foundation. And locally, you can choose the Hillcrest Transitional Housing. Have some fun this holiday and fall in love with driving again at Lease Summit Subaru.
Escape to your new coastal seafood paradise. Introducing Aqua Pennies, where the freshest seafood, a full-service raw bar, prime steaks and chops, exquisite handcrafted cocktails, and a one-of-a-kind atmosphere come together in perfect harmony. Aqua Pennies is now open in Park Place, Leawood. Don't miss out. Experience something truly different. Tantalize your taste buds and elevate your evening out. To learn more, go to aquapennies.com.
Coast into Aqua Pennies, now open for lunch.
'Tis the season of giving from the Kansas Lottery. So instead of one gift, give 2 or 3. With holiday instant tickets from $1 to $20, don't sweat last-minute gifts because you will have plenty. Forget about Santa and his super fast sleigh when the folks on your list can win up to $100K. Give Kansas Lottery holiday instant tickets this season. They're festive as heck and the winnings are pleasing. See kslottery.com for all the details. Sorry, this holiday story has gone off the rails.
Don't believe me, believe the Better Business Bureau. 5 stars for GiveMeTheVin.com. The rest of them are 1 star. America's best car buyer, GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
It's your last chance to snag Dell Technologies' lowest prices of the year before the holidays. The future is on sale today with limited time deals on select PCs like the XPS 16 that accelerate AI with Intel Core Ultra processors. This is their biggest sale of the year and the best time to upgrade, but it's only here for a limited time. Shop now at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-5795. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on SingleCare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to SingleCare.com or download the free app today.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
This report is brought to you by WaysideWaifs.org. Save a life this holiday season. Wayside Waifs has rescued pets from puppy mills, hoarding situations, and found them abandoned on the streets. Give these homeless animals a second chance. Make miracles happen. Donate today, and your gift will be matched. Visit WaysideWaifs.org.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Can I ask you guys a parenting question real quick? I know you don't have kids, but you
No,
were kids once.
that's actually a random question of the
No,
day.
I got a different random question of the day.
That's actually at 12:45, Cody.
Should I be offended this morning?
Should I be offended?
Well, and maybe you guys did this, so I got to know. My daughter, who is 8, tried to forge my name for the first time. At 8. At 8.
Oh, boy. She got caught?
Well, I saw the piece of paper and it's got my name on it.
I think what kind of document?
To join the American Sign Language Club. Can I really be that offended if it's for like a club?
I guess I would ask, did you ask her like why she
Because
felt
she
the
wants to
need?
do it.
But she thought you would say no?
Well, I don't know. She just
That's, I guess, the question.
Well,
is like,
she just said, well, I want to do it. So she just started putting look at this.
That's your signature, huh?
It's not even,
I'm sure they're going to believe.
Cody.
I'm sure they're going to believe. That's hilarious. It's not even a signature. It's
She
just,
filled up. Well, she was actually trying to do cursive. That O was trying to connect to the D.
Mm-hmm.
She was making an effort at cursive, even though she's never learned cursive.
I think it's hilarious that the signature, like that. That's why it's funny, because it's not even like it's
not believable.
It's so not believable.
She's 8.
Yeah,
she's not.
Yeah.
She's not a qualified forger.
Texai thinks to chip off the old block.
Oh,
forgery.
this is on me now, huh?
Well,
I don't remember forging anything.
We're an open and honest show.
Yeah.
I've forged my parents' signatures multiple times when I was in elementary and middle school.
I think I probably did it once or
Elementary
twice.
school?
Yeah, I don't know what grade, but absolutely, if
Yeah,
there was something in like junior high or elementary school, probably, yeah.
I thought they'd just
knew-
say yes, maybe, but
I would know that my parents would say yes. Like, hey, Drew needs approval for this field trip. Oh, crap, I forgot to get my parents' signature. Let me write it down really quickly before I turn it in.
That's exactly what it wasn't so much that like you were trying to get something they wouldn't approve, but it was like, hey, I forgot to get their signature. I know they don't care.
Someone says a felony's a felony. No Christmas now.
What's a worse felony, that or planting a flag?
Yeah, that story yesterday out of Ohio. But
forging my name already, man. That's
already,
a tough
dude.
start.
Mm-hmm.
8 years old. I mean, it just says
We've
Cody.
all signed our parents' name at some point.
See,
though.
look, if you look closer, she connected the O to the D. She doesn't even know cursive. She's out here trying to she knows it's got to be a signature. Like there's got to be some interconnect.
Yeah. A lot of people just think this is just like apple not falling too far from the tree.
Yeah, there's a
kind
lot of
thing.
people putting this on me.
I mean, yeah. I don't think it's your wife's fault. It's definitely yours.
It's definitely not her fault. Man.
Were you the only one? Because she could have forged your wife's name, I would assume, correct?
Yeah, she could have, but she put mine.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
She could have put anybody's name. She put mine.
Huh.
And my dad will say yes. I mean, I guess I should just let her do this American Sign
Yeah, why
Language
not? I
club.
mean, if that's what she's interested in.
A lot of it's just a time thing. She got to be dropped off at school early in order to do it.
Okay. What'd your wife say about this? She goes funny, or did she was like?
I think we both think it's a little funny. She's trying to forge her name. At least go then. All right, we can get to the Royals.
Yeah,
Sorry,
let's
I just
talk.
wanted to know.
Let's talk about that because the winter meetings are going on. We know a couple weeks back the Royals traded for Jonathan India, and immediately everybody's reaction was, "Okay, so he's a second baseman. Is he playing second? Is he playing third? Like, what's going on here?" I had Vern on last week when you were gone, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, whenever it's been, and he's like, "No, Jonathan India, he's pretty sure is playing second base." So then it's like, well, what's Michael Massey? Is he a trade candidate? Is he going to just be a platoon type player? Can he play left field? And according to Ken Rosenthal and over at The Athletic, they suggest there's a possibility that they're playing left field. In fact, he said India and Massey are both willing to try their hands at left field during spring training and next season. Now, for context, Jonathan India has never played a defensive position other than second. So I find it hard to believe they would trade for India and just
Other
throw
than
him out
college.
to
He played-
Sure, okay. But that's been like 5 years or whatever.
it's been a
Or
while.
more than 5 years,
He
actually.
played a little third in college.
So my question with that would be like, are you really trading for a player like India, who's clearly your new leadoff hitter, and then you're going to ask him to play a brand new position on top of it? I don't believe that's the path. To me, this is either Massey learns left field and is capable of doing it, or he's going to be kind of a role player, a bench player, or he's getting traded. If he can play left field, then what does it mean for MJ Melendez? Is he a guy
here's the
that's
thing.
available?
MJ definitely can't play multiple positions. So let's just
He's
establish
outfield
that
only,
right now.
yeah. Left and right field.
If you
It's like-
want a versatile player, going to MJ Melendez is not going to do. He's not going to just pick up a glove and play a few games at third here and there. That's not going to go down. I think Michael Massey is getting ready to gear up to be a utility player, and this is why it works really well. One, Massey was the first person who brought it up. JJ Picola told us that. He said in the middle of the season last year, they didn't go to him. Michael Massey came to them and said, I'll play left. Where do you want me to be? I'll play anywhere. So, if you want me somewhere else, I'll do it. So he was already expressing an interest. He can play second base. He has played at least one career game at third base. And honestly, I think a lot of times you can play second, you play third. I think the biggest question would be if his arm is strong enough.
Yeah.
To play third regularly. I think he even actually, not even kidding, I think he once questioned that to me in a text conversation. Not just in a joking way. That's a long throw, right? Shortstop. So maybe that would be a question. I think he could probably handle it, especially in a short thing. I actually think it makes a lot of sense. The other thing JJ told us is that essentially he is a 120 game player. He told us, not 120 game, but didn't JJ tell us? He said he's not, this was his words, he is not a 162 game player. As in, with his back, we just can't count on that. Well, then great. Play him some at second, play it some in third, play him some in left. Utility player plays 120 games a year with that and DH is not that crazy.
The other part, though, is going to factor in, do the Royals still go out and get another bat? And maybe their preference is a left-handed bat. And what's the flexibility that you get out of that player? Because we know right now the Royals, I would assume, would continue to prefer to have the flexibility that they have with Salvi and Fermin, where you can, they want to have the ability for Salvi to DH, and they want to get Freddie's bat maybe in the lineup as well. Okay, so you have limited options with where Freddie and Salvi can play. We know Vinny is a first baseman or a DH. That's it. And so you start looking at, if you're going to bring in another bat, you want to have as much flexibility as possible in your lineup and guys off the bench and where they can play for obvious reasons. And so if they go and get another bat, and there's rumors of names out there.
Taylor Ward. There's
some people.
I do think they're maybe close to making a
Taylor
move.
Ward. I mean, heck, Bellinger's been floated a little bit. I don't know how realistic it is, but that's a name. And so if they were to acquire somebody like that, does that trade include one of the names we're mentioning? A Massey or Melendez, because of wanting to keep the flexibility that's there, or is there a surprise name that gets mentioned? But I think the one thing that's pretty clear to me, I think Jonathan India is playing second base for this team. The question after is more about where's Massey, where's Melendez, where's whoever this next hitter is that maybe they are able to pull a trade off with after winter meetings. Because winter meetings, we remember last year, some of the moves came weeks after. It doesn't mean the moves happen during winter meetings. It's you're setting the table for the move to happen to see where the market goes, especially with free agents. But maybe even a trade happens.
Can you find 130 games for Michael Massey at a number of positions? I guess that would be the question I would ask. Michael Massey is a left-handed bat, so him and MJ seem like a redundancy.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to take MJ's not going to play 130 games, and in those 30 games, Michael Massey's going to come in because he's a righty. No, that's a redundancy. So that doesn't make sense. At least with India and Massey, there's a little bit of switch. And then again, they have no full-time DH. Salvi owns about half of those games. He's got about 80 there, give or take. That's probably a fair guess. Vinny's probably got another 30 there. But there are like 40 to 50 unspoken for games at DH. All right, so Massey gets 30 of those. He gets 30 at second base because, that's just the way, or he gets 10 at second base, whatever. There's 40. He gets 30 at third because the righty-lefty matchup for Michael Garcia. Like, I'm at 70, but the only way to get him to 120, 130 games is left field, which brings me down to the other thing. I think Jonathan India is playing second base, and I think either Michael Massey or MJ Melendez will not be on the Kansas City Royals roster by the time spring training starts. And if you're making me guess between the two, my guess is that MJ is gone.
The only question would be with Massey and how other teams believe, they're quite on the back and how much faith they have in that holding up.
I think that's why it's easier to move MJ Melendez. You manage Michael's Massey's back and deal with it.
Yeah. Perhaps. If Massey, and it sounds like based on the reporting, he's willing to play left field, one, that makes him more valuable to your team. It makes, for obvious reasons, they want to retain the flexibility. I think that's the key. Whether it's allowing them, if Massey can play multiple positions, well, then the guy you trade for can be more one position, can be someone that only can play one position. You brought up the DH part and the flexibility they want to have there. There's also wanting to leave the flexibility if you need to acquire a bat in the middle of the season at the deadline. You want to have a guy that can come in and be a DH if you just need a bat. Well, if you start narrowing that down, they want to just have ultimate roster flexibility, as does every team. And there's some players on the roster that could do that. And one way to make Massey more valuable to you is if he's actually capable of playing left field. So we'll see.
I think he could play left. I think with an entire offseason, Michael Massey can play left field. I definitely think he can pick up a glove at third. But, I think he could play left field. It is by all accounts, and this is not meant to be like the Moneyball joke or anything else. If you're going to learn a new position on a baseball diamond, moving from a previous position, the one to learn is left.
Yeah.
It just is. That's just the reality. That's where they put you. If you're like, hey, man, we need you to learn a new position.
Does anyone remember with Melendez?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Or obviously you're about to say Gordon too, maybe third base to left field.
There's a million different. I got plenty of examples of guys who have they've even goofed around with what if we let Fermin play? Whatever, right? Left field is where they think a lot of people can learn the position and learn it quickly. And I think that Michael Massey I think he is, like the text line put it, it's like having Adam Frazier on your roster, but it's a way big improvement. Michael Massey is a far, far, far better bat in that scenario. And so to have his ability to keep him in the lineup, especially against righties, to keep the left-handed bat in there, I think there's a big advantage in that.
Well, the one thing I'll disagree with on the article, so in the same article where Rosenthal is suggesting that, hey, Massey's willing to play left field, he says that he believes Josh Rojas and Adam Frazier are two possibilities for the Royals in the free agent market. No, thank you. No, thank you. We saw the Adam Frazier experiment. He's not been an above-average hitter for it's been 3 years. So I think the ship has sailed on that possibility. I'm good. I think you can have a better bench and better opportunities on the bench than Adam Frazier in 2025.
I was looking at Josh Rojas.
Same thing. He's
super utility. He
more
does play
flexible,
multiple.
but the bat, he's not he's a very average bat, if not below average.
He's Adam Frazier. He had a 304 on base percentage last year. He hit 225.
I'm good.
I would just rather convince Massey to play multiple positions and then have another outfielder and then just have ultimate flexibility. And this is the other part that goes to the analytic side of it. In Hughes' offense, really no one should be a 162-game player except for Bobby Witt Jr. Everyone should play 130 games. And if you got a better split against a different pitcher and if you got a reverse split against this guy or a good split against this unit, then you play. Everyone plays 130 games, and then all of a sudden there's 300 additional games across 8 different spots in the lineup that we can move around to guys like Michael Massey or the other guy in Taylor Ward, whoever the hell we pick up. And we can move those at-bats around and do whatever the hell we want, Because the other thing, if they're going to add an outfielder, the only thing I'll say is be nice to add another guy who could play center. Because right now you're really just down to Isbell, and Isbell's the kind of player that you wouldn't mind rotating out 20 or 30 games against a left-handed pitcher if you had someone else to play center. But you and I both know, man, playing center field at Kauffman, that is not for the faint of heart. I mean, that is not for the weak. Like, you got to have somebody who can play it, not just somebody who can maybe step in every once in a while.
Good to talk some baseball here on a Thursday. How about college basketball? We know the big story over the week and heading in early this week was Missouri's upset win over Kansas. I think Carrington is still celebrating and talking about it
Seems
all
like
week
it,
long.
probably for a while.
The towel is still in here. I told you he's got till Friday. Otherwise, Bob and I have promised that towel will go missing. It's still sitting in the corner of the CDOT junk pile that sits in the studio. But there was some news out around Division I college basketball and the future of the NCAA tournament. And we have long established, and I think you're maybe less against it than me, that I am anti-expanding the NCAA tournament again. But the NCAA has put out a plan this week for Division I conference commissioners that would expand both the men's and women's tournament by 4 or 8 teams alongside an option. There's still a proposal to leave it at 68 teams. Yes, I hate it. Under the proposal, an expansion of 68 team, here's what would happen. The NCAA would keep the 64-team bracket, would add play-in games involving 10 through 12 seeds. We already have that, but they would
have more.
Continue to add to the play-in games. That part's at least not as bad as like completely redoing the whole bracket.
You have to go to 96 to do that.
But we don't need it. We don't need this. The first 4 has been a great success, in fairness to them, in expanding. And every 10 years they expand. If you look at the track record of the tournament, they have every once in a while they expand. This is not a new concept. But as I've said, and I don't get a pick on Rutgers anymore because they actually are a pretty good team this year, I believe. But I don't need more 8th, 9th best team in Power 5 conference to get in because they had 17 wins and went 17-12, but they were in a Power 5 and now they're going to be a play-in 12 seed to get in. You didn't do enough. You didn't do enough to get in. We don't need to let you into the party. They're not putting in Mr. Cinderella in there. That's not happening. They're putting in the Power 5 team that is not really that good, very average basketball team.
The 10th best Big 12 team, whatever.
Yes.
Okay, so this feels like such a minor number. I don't care. I mean, fundamentally, honest to God, do you think I'm going to feel any difference between watching 68 teams and 72? I don't care. Sure. You know what? You want 4 more teams in? Go nuts, I guess. You want 8 more teams in? Seems fine.
Yeah, but this could cause small conferences to lose the auto bids, and I don't like that. What makes in March those small conference
just
tournaments?
As long as they don't get rid of that, I'm cool.
Because that might be part of this.
I don't want AQs gone.
I pick your conference. Normally we don't care, but it's fun to watch the Summit League, your Ruse, the SWAC. Yeah, Drew, the Ohio Valley, the what is it, the SoCon or whatever? I don't think exist anymore, I don't think. But you get my point. These small MEAC, these small conferences that nobody cares about in January, but it's fun. The final week where everything's on the line and they're in their small home high school looking gym and they're trying to get to their first NCAA tournament in 20 years. That's fun. And we get these great stories like Oakland last year beating Kentucky and the kid whose name I've already forgotten but became a name for 24 hours or whatever that couldn't miss a 3-pointer. That's what's fun. We lose those stories if we get rid of automatic qualifiers. I don't believe Oakland gets in if they didn't win whatever conference they were in last year.
No, but just as long as you're not getting rid of, my only thing is don't get rid of automatic qualifiers, which is crazy to me anyway. If you're the NCAA tournament, what are you, stupid? That's what makes your tournament great. The conference tournaments that lead to bids, that lead to upsets in the tournament, that's the whole tournament. That's the point. So if you just completely change what your audience wants, well then, yeah, I'll be out. If they add 4 more teams and they're the 9th best in the SEC, the 8th best in the Big 12, the 7th best in the AC, I don't care. Well, sure. Okay. Cool. I guess play for the 10 or 12 seed and we'll all just live our lives.
Rewarding mediocrity, though.
It is, but I guess you're
happy
if you're already doing that.
If you're K-State or Missouri, you should hope this happens because you guys are on the bubble quite a bit. I'm dead serious. That's not even me trying to be a jerk, but that's just the reality. Most years, if they want to make the tournament more, they need that extra spot in line because how many times have they been right on the bubble?
Yeah, they're on Lenardi's first 4 out or first. Yeah. And here's the truth. I do think it rewards mediocrity.
So just extend it more. Honest. Just make it even more ridiculous.
The 68th best team. There's no fundamental difference in quality of talent between the 68th team, who's the 7th best team in the Big 10, and the 8th best. They're the same. So, I'm rewarding the mediocrity anyway. So, whatever. 4 more teams? Sure, sounds fine.
But then
couple more games to watch on the Wednesday in Dayton.
But you know how this goes.
Okay.
In 7 years, then it's another 4. And you're like, well, it's already another 4. And all of a sudden, we've added 8 teams in the last 7 years.
I actually think, yeah, sure. It's an if you give a mouse a cookie situation, but they can have this cookie.
They've talked about going up to 96 before.
I'd be fine with that, too, probably, for being honest.
Drew's going to save that as a drop.
They should. I do think, I will say this, Kansas City has an opportunity. If they add 4 more play-in games, be the new Dayton. Offer to host the first 4 every year in Kansas City. Be the new Dayton.
Yeah.
Be the other Dayton. Offer your city up every year to have 4 college basketball games that are playing games before. That'd be sweet.
I would love it. Now, they're never going to take it out of Dayton unless they just add a new site on top of it, because it's worked really well with Dayton, and they support it. They sell it out every time. It's a big deal for that community. I hear you. It'd be really cool to have here. I don't think you're stealing it from them. It would have to be what you're saying, where it's like you clearly can't play unless you start the games earlier, all of them there. So if you have another site, I just wonder, would they put it in as big of a city as Kansas City? Like, Dayton's not a big city. So would they put it in is that
a city that also hosts occasional Sweet 16s or Final Fours?
I don't know.
It's hard to say. But like, if you're Kansas City, they probably
put it in. That seems like something. Fair to say, put the NCAA tournament in Omaha, but that feels like something they would be more likely to give to an Omaha than a Kansas City for a first 4, or pick any other. Honestly, they should just put it in Nashville and have a whole party that week. But
probably, but again, that's a similar size city, a little smaller than Kansas City, I think, metro size wise.
It's getting bigger now.
It's close.
It's crazy.
But I think
I just mean that more of like a party thing. But yes. Nashville's starting to get everything.
Kansas City has proven to have a thirst for college basketball. We are better at hosting college basketball than a lot of other markets.
I know. I just don't know if because we get Elite 8s and Sweet 16s, I don't know if they're going to give first 4s. Like, Dayton doesn't get anything other than the first 4, as far as I remember. I don't know. Maybe they've had some first-round sites in Dayton before.
Currently, by the way, by metro size, Kansas City's 31, Nashville's 35, so they're about the same size.
Well, they play in the Dayton Flyers Arena, too, so it's not like they'd go to... Not that they'd host it in Columbia, but they'd be more likely to go to a smaller,
How far is Dayton on this list? Sorry, I was like trying to go through seeing exactly the size of Dayton just to kind of give you a
top
point.
100 maybe?
I think based on what you're
outside of
talking
100?
about, it wouldn't even be like Omaha would be too big. You should be looking at like Colorado Springs or Wichita or like that would be more the Dayton market size.
Okay.
I don't think the market size matters. They just know you're going to watch college basketball before you watch the NCAA tournament. They just need a city that will host it that has a good arena. That's fine.
Someone says they think it makes it harder for your Roos to get in. That's what I'm saying, Cody.
I think the Roos have to win the conference tournament. They've never been harder. They've never made the NCAA tournament. It doesn't get any harder.
Yeah, but let's say if they took away the automatic bid, then your team has 0 chance to ever. Like I know you said they haven't been in, but then it goes from like a 10% chance this year to a 0% chance.
Well, Drive was able to have Dennis Gates on, and Dennis Gates was, of course, he's a proponent of expanding because the SEC is the toughest conference in college basketball.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like,
exactly.
They're more likely to be in the 7th to 10th range in the SEC every year than they are the top 3. So.
Same thing for K-State, to your point, because K-State is, because the Big 12 is so competitive, it allows you more room for error, I guess, in that regard.
Are you nervous about your Roos getting in?
They're not playing good, man. I don't know how to break. Like, they might have been.
All that hope for you.
The preseason poll might not have been an accurate representation.
All that
matters is the tournament. They just have to be good for 1 week.
Yeah.
For 1 week.
All they got to do is
they just got to put that talent together and start figuring it out.
All they have to do is get better in February leading up to March because there's only one spot.
It's been pretty bleak. But Summit League play hasn't started.
That's right.
So I reserve the right.
And you know what happens when Summit League play starts, man. You know what happens.
I reserve the right to see how they look against, the Summit League.
What game are we going to?
No, we still need to work.
Oh yeah, I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe got to do like South Dakota State.
It's got to be again. You think they're going to win though, right? I feel like.
Nah, I want to go against. I want to see how they hold up against the tough ones. I don't want to see them against Denver, a team they lost to.
We should have seen it when they were playing KC Calvary or whatever the hell whatever that school was, whatever that was.
Dude, we could have been like after every shot, just watching them bury. It was like Pleasantville.
No,
it was
every
shot.
They were. I can't remember. It was they were Calvary Athletics, but I can't remember the school name.
It was like
400 enrollment, and they won by 100 or whatever it was. Anyway, up next, we'll get to the 11 o'clock hour. One big change could be happening in the NFL. I think a tweak is needed if they adopt it. I'll explain what that is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Men, it's the holidays, a time of love and joy. But if you suffer from erectile dysfunction, the season can be tough on you. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you and your partner are experiencing struggles because of ED, change it up this year. Give the best gift you can give to the one you love by treating your ED and restoring your relationship. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts at treating ED. And as a Promenic restorative health practice, we've literally seen countless thousands of relationships renewed across the nation. Plus, with treatments having success rates well over 90%, coupled with many treatment options, we can likely find the right one for you. You may even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So call us and give your partner the best gift you can give this season. A renewed, restored relationship. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in our office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at Hughes. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get into that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down, 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we are improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000. Or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com. And I look forward to working with you.
The holidays are happening at Diamonds Direct. This weekend only, it's our last chance sale with 20% off virtually everything. Plus special financing options up to 5 years. Plus special designer appearances. Our 20% off last chance sale ends Sunday. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com.
This holiday at T-Mobile, I'm joined by a special co-anchor.
What up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Snoop Double G.
Snoop, let's talk about T-Mobile.
Okay, cool.
This holiday, get 4 lines for $25 a line. Plus, 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence and the all-new camera control on us.
Let's get cracking, like a breakfast egg.
You can use those eggs to make some eggnog, Snoop.
Respect.
And people do love T-Mobile, where you can save on every plan versus the other big guys when you switch.
You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
Always a great stocking stuffer, Snoop.
We up out of here.
Hold your horses, Snoop Double G. Let's remind people one more time.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence on us, plus 4 lines for $25. Now drop that jingle.
With 24 monthly bill credits, 4 eligible trade-ins, and 4 new lines with autopay. Well-qualified customers plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credit stop and balance on required finance agreements due. $829.99 credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save on wireless and streaming versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence requires iOS 18.1 or later.
You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Browns game with Mitch, Danan, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. You guys can always interact with us on the Jays Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Reminder, coming up about 1 hour from now, Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, part of the Chiefs radio network. He'll be in Cleveland on Sunday, another rare noon kickoff. That means pregame starts at 9 a.m. right here on 96.5 The Fan. So we'll ask him about Xavier Worthy's last 4 games or so, like we started the show with, and just kind of what to expect out of this game. And if he agrees that if there's ever a game for the defense to get a turnover, this feels like the one against Jameis.
With Jameis Winston, it certainly feels like it should be.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely, it does. We might also get into something we're going to discuss right now with him, which is what the NFL is considering doing with the replay assist system. We know, right, there's plenty of times in a game now, whether it's a spot that's bad, if it's so obvious, they're able to quickly kind of call down and correct it without a challenge.
I liked it. It's been
For
simple.
the most part, it's good. I told you, I think there's a little loophole with the 10-second runoff thing that happens sometimes, like it did a few weeks ago. With the if it's called a catch on the field and the team's rushing the line of scrimmage when it should have been incomplete and they still do the runoff, like there's still a little bit of that is a gray area loophole. But overall, I like it. Well, what's being discussed during the NFL meetings right now is expanding that. And they want to potentially expand replay assist to include a miss on the face mask call and some other plays. So it's been highlighted because a lot more frequently we've seen on primetime games, including the Bengals-Cowboys game, a clear miss on a face mask. There were 2 in a 3-week span. And so Troy Vincent, who's an NFL exec, said, quote, "When we see it, because I see it like yourselves and the fans, I have an opportunity to see it from a different angle and see it from slow-mo. When you think about the position of where the officials are, things are happening so fast. Sometimes the face mask can be the same color as the gloves. That's a lot happening there. That's a big miss. That's a big foul. That's why we like to consider putting that for the membership to consider, putting that in a foul category that we can see, putting the penalty flag on the field to help."
No, I hate it. I've already told you we need less replay, not more. The Sky Judge stuff has worked. Like, I understand why they're doing it and moving it along, and for the most part, it is not added to the time of the game. They move it along relatively quickly. So if it's adding 10 or 15 seconds, I don't care. This is worse than the NCAA thing. You give them this, well, then just make holding. If a face mask is a big penalty and it's 15 yards, then why wouldn't illegal hands to the face or holding? Those are 10 or 15 yards. Those are equally big plays, admittedly.
That's why I think there's a solution.
Not obvious. And so, just don't do it. You miss the face mask on the field. Oh, well, they're humans. We're making it a human game with human elements.
Mm-hmm.
Then we just have to accept that part of the game. I don't see a reason to add that to the penalty box. It doesn't make any sense.
The middle ground here would be, I agree with you. Like, okay, we're just going to review everything now, and we don't want that.
Inbounds is different. That's easy. It's a line.
I think what you do here, because I don't want every single face mask call being reviewed or any every single one. So why not expand the challenge system? This is something I think that should have happened anyway. Well, right now we know you get the 2, and then if you get 2 correct, you get a third. Why stop at 3? Now, I'm not saying to give people more, 3 challenges to start. No. We don't need that.
I'm saying still get 2 to start.
I want, if you think a face mask was missed, let's not expedite the review. let's make that a challengeable call. And you might say, well, then where do we draw the line? But I think this is where you can kind of do both. So you say, hey, you get your 2 challenges. As long as you keep getting the challenge correct, why am I penalized if you keep messing up? So
it's a heat check.
I think it's hilarious that the NFL says you get 2 challenges, and if we screw up twice, you get a third, but then we stop if you get 3 challenges and you're right on all 3. If I correctly identified that you screwed up 3 times, why am I done? So I don't want you to be handed 3 or 4, but if I get 3 right, I should get a 4th. If I get 4 right, I should get a 5th. And make face mask one of them. So if I got a challenge left in the 4th quarter and I think there's a big face mask that is missed on Patrick Mahomes, and I want to use my final challenge because it's that big of a play because it was on a 4th down and the game would have been over, I should be able to use it. But I don't want to make it an expedited review.
I don't think people are realizing just how many missed face masks exist in the NFL. It's a lot, man. It happens
so
a lot.
Be a challengeable play.
Like, just because, like, the same thing. Well, then shouldn't, like, illegal hands in the face of the quarterback be challengeable too? I think we would be adding a lot. And I think that those would be
That's not 15
easier.
yards, though, right? That's the difference, I think, here. Is a face mask usually is a 15-yard
If you
penalty.
put hands in the face of the quarterback as a personal foul, is 15 yards.
To the quarterback. You're not, but sometimes we get illegal hands to the face on an offensive lineman,
that's
right?
10.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting
But
at.
so,
So
like,
where we
but, like,
draw the line?
If it hits the quarterback, do you know how many times? Like, so if a finger, this is the PI thing.
Yeah.
If I like accidentally graze the helmet of the quarterback, that is technically a 15-yard penalty. I don't want that challengeable. Face mask is kind of not in the same vein, but like, I'll be honest, if
It's
someone's
way more
hand,
obvious.
yeah, sure, but if somebody's hand just kind of like a pinky for a half a second gets in the mask, do I really want that being face mask? No.
I think we don't call that then.
Is it? But it is. And if you challenge it by the letter of the law, it is a penalty.
I think it's obvious.
I want it off.
Personal
I
foul.
I want it off the table.
Personal
off the table.
foul, face mask. I think the obvious ones we all know, where we see the helmet.
PI
and
problem from a few years ago,
We
though.
see, PI. I would argue, maybe you clearly disagree. I think PI is way more subjective than a face mask.
It's harder.
I think on a face mask, we all know what the obvious ones look like that have been missed recently. If someone's helmet is being turned, and sometimes they miss that still, those are the ones that I want them correcting. Not the, it kind of grazed over and maybe his pinky got stuck thing. I'm talking about some obvious ones they've missed where it is on there for 4 seconds or the helmet gets pulled back and they're like, and how did you miss it? That's what I want. I hear you that we know that the officials in New York are hesitant to reverse calls. That's the whole PI issue with the Saints a couple years ago. But that's why I think it should just be a challengeable thing because I don't want it every single time. Basically, if you want to use your challenge and include a face mask on that, go right ahead. But if you get it wrong, you're done.
I just think they're too big of penalties. Like, it's not worth it to me. I just think some are misses. Like, some are misses. Let it go. Look, the other rules that they were entertaining, like the onside kick, we can talk about that later. I'm in on. I've been in on that forever. The onside kick is a meaningless play that almost essentially means nothing. But this one, the expansion of replay, I'm just way off of that across sports. I want less replay in every sport across the board, essentially. Like, I just think that it's slowing down the game. Even if it's 2 more times a game, it's all slowing it down. All those things, right? It's just like, I think you just got to kind of change a little bit. Like, the text line is just saying, like, if you got timeouts, you can challenge. You always risk losing the timeout, but if you got a timeout, you can challenge.
Yeah, I mean, that's
so don't be burning timeouts early.
That's another way to do it. But that's So on the same lines of what I was saying with the challenge should be the only way you can do it. I think if you're going to say face masks are reviewable, don't put it part of the expedited review.
Yeah.
Make it be a actual review, and that way, look, that you don't have it happening 4 times a game this way.
Yeah, that's my fear. Your only problem with the heat check is if somebody's really just kicking ass.
Well, then,
and like they're missing 70 straight calls. It's like at some point I'm like, damn, dude, this guy's done 9 challenges. Can we at least?
But if I get it right,
I'll just say, if we employ that. Can we at least employ the rule I've been asking for in basketball specifically, but on top of the NFL?
Okay.
Shot clock. You can't decide in 90 seconds.
Review.
We're done here.
Yeah, that would be great too.
You can't decide if you can't, like college basketball's worse. If you can't decide if it's a flagrant 1 or flagrant 2 or whatever inside of 60 or 90 seconds, call stands. Sorry. You can't decide it's a face mask in 60 seconds, then it's not a face mask. We're moving on here. We're not all sitting around twiddling our thumbs, waiting to see if you can tell if it grazed his finger slightly as the ball was going out of bounds. You can't decide in 60, 90 seconds. We're done here. Like, because if you're going to say unlimited, then I need a shot clock. That's why the Sky Judge has been nice. It feels like they're operating on a shot clock. They're just like, yeah, man, that was incomplete. Like, they're not. It doesn't feel like it's wasting any time in the game. You agree, right? The way they're doing it now, they're just like, that was incomplete.
It's been very quick.
Yeah, I like that.
Coming up in about 8 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day. But we know the Chiefs are taking on the Browns in Cleveland. And it's amazing how quickly they have fallen from where they were when they were playing a playoff game here at Arrowhead. Now, they were in the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco, but nobody was giving them a real chance.
I can't believe they were in the playoffs
So much of this,
year.
of course, is Deshaun Watson's fault and where that franchise has been. But go back to that playoff game. It was kind of fun to think about. We were thinking some of the moments in that game.
It was the beginning of the dynasty, I think, is what's kind of important.
It was. We all remember that the Chiefs were up, 16-3, and there was what looked like a touchdown to be for Higgins, the wide receiver. I think Elijah Higgins maybe or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. First name. Wasn't T. Higgins. I know that. Higgins for the Browns. He was about to score. Would have made it a 16-10 game and kind of interesting right before halftime. Dan Sorensen, though, came up with a huge hit that caused a fumble right at the goal line.
First half defensively allowed the fewest points, but the Browns are trying to defy that. As they hit at the 5 to Higgins, he lost the football as he reached for the pylon, and they ruin a touchback as he fumbled through the end zone.
Well, this is going to be, whatever happens right here, Stefanski livid. If this is a touchback, and it did look like it, Jim, this is devastating. What a throw, movement with the eyes by the quarterback. Let's see right here. Oh, that
ball definitely came out early.
Sorensen with a huge play.
And there was the controversy, you remember.
He helmet to helmet
it was
the
a helmet-to-helmet hit. They didn't call it. It was clearly a fumble, but it was caused by the helmet-to-helmet hit. And that's where everybody's feeling about Sorensen changed for a little bit, because that was the same year where he was getting just torched, right?
It's crazy with Sorensen. He has two unbelievably unforgettable plays.
Yes.
Stopping the fourth down fake punt.
Thank you, Bill O'Brien.
Against the Texans. And that one in which he is a missile. He had lost. They were going to the corner. That was going to be a touchdown. And then Sorensen flew like this and dislodged the ball in order to make it a touchback. That was a huge play. And that was at the beginning of this dynasty. I mean, the beginning of this dynasty.
And then, of course, in that game, it was the
anything is possible.
Any given Sunday, whatever you want to say, where Mahomes, of course, gets hurt, and Chad Henne leads a long drive, or had a key play, I should say. He also would later lead a long drive in the Jags game a couple years later or whatever. But he had the big play to Tyreek Hill.
They snap it. They're going for it. They flood it right. Caught Tyreek Hill. Stays in bounds. The same play that they closed the game out against New Orleans. They do it to Cleveland. And Chad Henne out of the bullpen. Incredible job on a 3rd and 14 scramble for 15. They called 13 and a half. Comes back on a roll to the right side, deking Cleveland into thinking they were going to run the clock. And they find Tyreek Hill on the right flat. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to advance in the AFC playoffs.
They have since ran that same play numerous times in downs. Yeah. I would argue, I know it was a little bit, the play just this past week where Mahomes, I guess, would have thrown that 3rd and 7 to Kelsey.
Seemed like they were trying to go for that, but it didn't.
They improvised, as always. But that's a play in the Cleveland one where they've run multiple times since.
What a fun moment. Remember when there was a brief period of time, very brief, I will say, we thought Cleveland was a real threat to Kansas City.
Well, they've had a good roster, but Deshaun Watson's destroyed that thing. It's why they made the playoffs last year with Joe Flacco. They had a good defense, and they had Amari Cooper at one point until they traded him this year. Like that's what it is. Now, this year has been a disaster, and Jameis makes it fun. But as I said yesterday, I think we act like the Browns have been in these games in the fourth quarter every single time. You realize that other than the win against Pittsburgh on that weird Thursday night game, they've been losing by 9+ the last 3 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever. Like Jameis is not. It's not like the Browns are winning these games that they're in.
No, he's putting up a couple of counting stats, but not for good benefit.
Mm-hmm.
I went ahead because this might have been the very beginning, maybe song 2. I remembered I did a song for that Browns game in the style of James Brown.
Yeah. Yes.
And so the very first song I think I ever did for the show was the Happy Birthday song to Patrick Mahomes. That was the same year, I believe, when I decided, the Chiefs are making a playoff run. I'll make a song for every playoff match they had.
Yes.
Including this Browns game. I had to dig through the archives and find it because I haven't heard this probably since we aired it then. Do you guys want to hear the song I made for the Browns game?
I remember the song.
I've never heard it.
I gave them no chance to win.
Yes, and that became very catchy, and it got stuck in everybody's head. I can't wait to hear this because
I'm a little worried there might be a quality difference between the level of work I feel I do now and the level of work I was doing then.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little fearful that that's going to be obvious.
All right, let's hear it. This was from 2021, January of 2021.
This was called No Chance.
Oh, can I hear from your computer real quick? We've actually run that. Do you want me to play it? We've run into this. For those of you
on the video stream, they might not be able to hear it. Do you see it in our system?
I do not. We have to find that.
It's about 10 or 11 down in our folder.
Okay, I see it. Okay. The reason why we're doing this, for those of you on the video stream, for whatever reason, they can't hear Cody's audio. Those of you on the radio, you're like, what are you talking about? But I'll play it from my computer for the sake
here we go.
of the argument.
That was a little tease there. Woo! All right, everyone. Let's talk about those Cleveland Browns. Oh, I forgot. How hard it's going to be on Sunday. I made Carrington be in this, and he didn't even know.
Yeah,
the Cleveland Browns have got no chance at all to beat the Chiefs. They'd have better luck keeping the Browns from getting in their briefs. It was less than 3 weeks ago they couldn't even beat the Jets. But now I'm supposed to relieve that their mouth and cash these checks. They have no chance. Listen to me. No chance. Andy Reid has been in KC since 2013. I'll say that. Since that time, the Browns have had quarterbacks numbering 15. Tell them, C-Dot.
Baker Mayfield, Tyrod Taylor, Deshaun Kaiser.
Can't be all.
Kevin Hogan, Cody Kessler.
Give me more.
RG3,
He didn't know you were doing
Josh
this.
McCown, Johnny Manziel.
One more time.
Austin Davis, Brian Hoyer, Connor Shaw.
Woo! How much time's left in
50
this?
seconds.
50? I bet they wish Mahomes hadn't seen Odell's tweet.
This isn't even a rap.
No.
It's
gonna be
that was Serta.
Chiefs are gonna blow
That was
them
Serta,
out.
yeah.
This game's not gonna be close at all. It's gonna be a blowout. Chiefs are gonna blow them out. It's gonna be a blowout. This game will not be close at all.
It was close.
They have no
I don't
chance
know.
to beat the Chiefs with what they have in all. They'd rather have Baker Mayfield handed off than actually throw the ball. Kansas City's going to win by 14 at the least. It's going to be a Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce feast. They have no chance. Listen to me. No.
This part's still good.
Chance. Not at all. No chance. Can't beat them. No chance.
That was in 2021. For those of you
Come
that
on,
might be
no
new,
chance part's fine.
if you're
Yes.
new to the station, you probably have never heard that song. And yeah, we gave a sheet of paper to Carrington to record quarterbacks for the Browns. He had no clue he was going to be in the song. But yeah, the quality of work has changed over the years.
Yeah, I think so.
But
the recording quality at the very least. No chance. That part works. I don't care, man. No. I feel the same way this week.
Yeah, that part I think is good, but it's a like it's very like
staccato.
Yes, staccato.
Text line says, "Done with you people. He sucks at singing."
Dang.
Wow.
I will say, hearing
I was getting requests for Chiefs Christmas carols after that one went viral on social media yesterday.
You said that was 2021.
2021.
3 years later, do you feel like the quality is much better? I feel like the production quality in particular is much better, as well as your
I think I have improved my system of recording these. I bet they wish Mahomes hadn't seen Odell's tweet. I don't even remember what Odell sent out. Does anybody remember what his tweet was about?
I'm not sure. Someone liked the one more time part, but the no chance is what got stuck in people's heads back then.
Someone said, I've got secondhand embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
This was all along. This again, very early on.
Odell
this was
Beckham
the start
Jr.
of it all.
Gives Chiefs clear bulletin board material is what this says. No chance. Not at all. He just said, don't be surprised this weekend when they win. Just throwing it out there. He must have been talking about someone else. I don't know. I don't remember that. I don't remember that part.
I mean, you could almost
Someone said
use
I just turned it off.
I mean, you almost could use that tweet now. Don't be surprised when the Chiefs win.
I did see that. If you guys didn't see that, did you guys see that Chiefs Children's Choir singing about
I did.
recreating Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, whatever it was, but instead to...
The captions were messed up, though.
Captions were a bit bleak.
So
I'll say, like, I would have left those off of there.
So it's a cute video. These kids are singing the
Kudos
song.
to the teacher for writing it.
Yeah, but there's captions on the video. And the captions are automated, clearly. And they weren't really picking up what the kids were saying. And so some of the captions are funny, awkward, weird.
They don't fit the tenor of the song.
They don't.
So, no, I have not done any Chiefs. But now, listen, This show's already addressed the fact that the youth of America have told us, the youth of Kansas City have told us, more Christmas music.
Mm-hmm.
That's already been they've told us that. So do we need to do a Chiefs-based Christmas song? Will you rewrite a Hanukkah song
Gosh.
Will you rewrite the dreidel song,
I think
but for something Chiefs-related?
I think Gold's got to be in the song as well. Like Gold has to make an appearance.
I was in, what was the one I had the gold chain on? I was in a music video.
He danced in the back of that was the Tampa Bay Super Bowl rap.
We can't bring that back up anymore.
I don't really want to rehash that one under any circumstance.
All right. Some of you might have said this was already it, but it's time for the actual
Trash of the day.
Those are different.
Could have been in this category as well, according to some of the text line, but we'll stay away from that. All right. I thought about doing the whole drone story. I'm not going to do that here. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. You guys maybe been following the weird drone stuff in New Jersey that's been going on. I don't know what's going on out there, but there's flying objects and things like that.
And they won't tell us what it is, which is always weird.
There's conspiracies out there. Who knows?
They said it's not Iranian. I don't know.
Yeah, mothership dropping off drones off the coast of the United States. Who knows what is going on? But that's not where I'm going. I just want to know if you could do this challenge and if you think the dollar amount was fitting. We go to China for this, where a woman recently won about $1,300 if we convert it over to the United States dollar, after successfully completing a, quote, public welfare challenge that tested participants' ability to stay away from their smartphones for 8 hours. Okay. The challenge was held in a local business store aimed to spotlight the growing issue of smartphone addiction. Participants had strict rules. 1, no using your smartphone. No sleeping. No distractions like books or movies. They had to lie flat the entire time and avoid displaying signs of anxiety, which was monitored through a wristband that was tracking vital signs. Out of 10 randomly selected people, one woman, who notably arrived in her pajamas, that was probably smart actually, endured the challenge, claimed victory. The reason why they did this is because in the United States, adults reportedly check their phones on average of 352 times a day.
I'm no better.
So do you think you would have won?
Okay, no.
8 hours just sitting still, winning $1,300.
If you paid me for $1,300 and you said I couldn't use my phone for 8 hours, I think I could do that. But not if they made it the other parts of it. We're like, I can't watch a show, or I couldn't distract myself. Can I listen to mute? You know, like if it's not.
Nope.
If I'm not offered other distractions, I already told you, I do not do well under the circumstances in which I'm just left alone with my own thoughts. I don't want to be in that scenario. It will get dark in a hurry.
That's why we used to have a funny joke / bit on the show years ago where we would just let Cody talk and he would be waiting and like he couldn't let there be a half second of silence. And so Cody would just keep talking. Like if we were just doing the show, Drew, and all of a sudden we just stopped responding, Cody would just keep talking to himself.
Yes.
Basically.
I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. Like, do you guys ever drive with nothing on in the car?
No.
There's always something on.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
There's always something on in the background in the house. Like, if I'm doing dishes, I play music, or I listen to a podcast, or I watch something. Like, I don't just like, I like sound and chaos. Maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe it's childhood or whatever. I don't like silence. I don't do well in that scenario. So, no, I would not like this contest. And only for a chance to win $1,400? No chance. I would definitely display signs of stress, as they said in this thing. How long do you think you could make it? For $1,300, could you give it up for 8 hours? Nothing? It's much. Somebody, please, do something. The listeners want you to say something, and they don't like that it makes me uncomfortable. You guys are the worst.
I did tell Gold to not say anything, so.
I'm just going to break if that's what you have to do. I'll quit.
I don't know if 1,300 is enough, given those, but I think I could do it to the point of, so you can't sleep, obviously, either, right?
Correct. Yeah, because that'd be too easy.
Yeah, I mean, you could just, like, fall asleep, sure.
Can you sing to yourself? Like if you wanted to, like, that would be, because I think, Cody, to that point, if you can't listen to music, eventually you would last maybe an hour and a half, and then be like, okay, I need to start singing. I need to hum. I need to
even make it that long, Drew. Okay. Just giving me way too. I would make it 30 minutes, and my head would start to implode.
Someone says they went 2 months without their phone. They stayed in a cabin, no electronics at all. But keep in mind, they said, I did this when there was no football season.
Can I read?
2 months without a phone. I mean, props to you. Props to you.
Did you at least have like a watch?
Like this says you couldn't even use books. Like if you said I could read a book, I could make it.
Nope. Just lie there in your own thoughts for 8 hours.
No.
Are you able to have a watch with you to track time, or can you?
Yeah, I think to track time, but you can't play a game somehow through
I'll
your
just
Apple
say,
Watch.
in a lot of ways, that's worse. Like, because you're going to be like, it's been at least 10 minutes, right? And it's been 4, and you're going to be like, oh my God. The time would be worse.
Just based on you saying that, I don't think you could survive either.
No.
Just yeah.
Someone on the text line said you've seen the movie The Quiet Place. Really good show or movie.
I would have been dead.
You know the plot though. Like
yes,
basically, you make any noise, you're basically dead because these monsters.
I die real quick.
Yeah, you would be. We'd be screwed. Like if we were playing that game here. Let's take the radio part of it. We're obviously talking, but if we were with you, Drew and I would be dead because of you.
Yes, we'd all die. You're all going down. Sorry.
How long do you think you could stay quiet for? Like just silent?
20 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe.
No
and
chance.
There's nothing to look at.
Yeah,
You're just like sitting still in a room.
Yes.
Are there things in the room? Not like a perfectly black room, right? Because they've discussed how that make people crazy. Like I could sit in nature. There might be like a bird or something to look at in this hypothetical.
And you cannot be on ayahuasca.
I can't take it. No drugs or alcohol.
No
right?
drugs.
Okay.
No. That is trash of the day. Up next, though, what one sports site has been telling us about how we view certain athletes and how much you actually view certain athletes. We'll explain that, and we'll talk more about Belichick going to college football, what it actually means for the legacy of Andy Reid. We'll do that right here on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Tackle the NFL action like tonight, Thursday Night Football on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get that hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com/Alex. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located off 105th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, December 13th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Whether you're a financial rookie or a pro, we're here to help. If you're looking to pay down debt, improve your credit score, or buy a car, we'll be right there with you. We're dedicated to providing guidance, education, and essential resources to empower you on your journey toward financial success. We'll help you understand your financial options so even financial rookies will be on their way to reaching their goals. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information.
The most common form of treatment for the arthritic joints is normally cortisone injections and gel shots and over-the-counter medications. And most patients have tried all of that and are still in pain.
Every day, Dr. Aaron Wolkoff, a QC Kinetics medical director, meets patients who have exhausted every method to get relief. They've been told surgery is their only option.
They want to stay away from that path, and they come to us almost as the last hope. So we're using our own body's properties to help manage pain, to help slow arthritis down, keep the patient active with no downtime, and get them back to what they enjoy doing. I mean, I love what I do.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments from our board-certified providers help heal and restore aching joints. No surgery, harmful drugs, or downtime. Call for your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Looking for last-minute gifts? Shane Company can help, even if you're still planning to propose. We have a wide selection of hand-picked diamonds and colorful gemstones in stock for dream engagement rings. Come discover fine jewelry gifts in every price range, curated by our in-house design team and crafted with care to our high-quality standards. At Shane Company, we'll protect your gifts with our unmatched free lifetime warranty. Visit shaneco.com to find your store's extended hours and the perfect holiday gifts. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door if it isn't ready. Let Overhead Door Company of Kansas City come out and perform their 14-point tune-up on the garage door and 12-point tune-up on the opener. One price covers 3 garage doors and openers. The work is guaranteed. Overhead Door Company of Kansas City, trusted here since 1927. Call now to schedule your garage door tune-up, 816-221-0072, or schedule online at ohdkc.com. ohdkc.com.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This report is brought to you by WaysideWaifs.org. Save a life this holiday season. Wayside Waifs has rescued pets from puppy mills, hoarding situations, and found them abandoned on the streets. Give these homeless animals a second chance. Make miracles happen. Donate today, and your gift will be matched. Visit WaysideWaifs.org.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll be keeping an eye on some of the reports out at Arrowhead to see where things are trending practice-wise today, most notably with DJ Humphries. And if he doesn't practice again today, then I think it's very obvious he's not playing on Sunday. If he practices today, then I think the door is cracked. But we might get our clear answer today. I mean, if DJ's not out there, then we know they're going to have to go with either Wanye again or with Joe Tooney over at left tackle. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. We'll talk about it with Danan Hughes, who's going to join us coming up at 12:10 today, as he does each and every Thursday on Cody and Gold. But we know the big news in sports the last 24 hours has been about Bill Belichick, and he's now going to be the head coach at North Carolina.
Crazy.
And they're calling it Chapel Bill, which, that's pretty good.
That's actually pretty solid.
That's pretty good. And he signs a 5-year deal. And earlier in the show, we discussed the surprise with it, why it could work, why it couldn't work. And I think there's some reasons to believe it could work, given the nature of college football and the NFL structure to it now with NIL. But then here with the Chiefs and with Andy Reid, there's major implications for his legacy. I think we've all acknowledged, once Bill did not coach this year, that Andy had a chance to get closer to Bill in all-time wins. And what's stunning about this is it sure looks like Bill Belichick is never going to surpass Don Shula now. He was 20-something wins away from doing so. And barring a complete shift again, he's never coaching the NFL with this 5-year deal.
I mean, think about his age. I mean, some of that is just it doesn't work.
And Andy's younger. Despite this continued national narrative, people act like Bill Belichick somehow is younger than Andy. Andy is, 7 years younger? Mm-hmm. So Andy Reid is the guy that has a chance now to pass Shula. Now, he's averaging, 11 wins a year. He probably needs 4 or 5 years, if we do the math on that, to get to that mark. Now, some years like this, he might win 15, and so that helps. But Andy Reid has a chance not only to have the different narrative at the end of his career, clearly, where he could be winning rings at the final few years.
You're talking regular season wins, obviously.
Yes.
Postseason wins, they add up faster.
But there's a real chance that Andy gets to Shula, and definitely a real chance he's going to pass Bill Belichick in all-time wins.
Okay, so he has 32 wins behind Bill Belichick. He will rack up regular season wins. He'll rack up a couple more this year at least. Let's just call it 2 because we're haters.
All right.
I think it'll be more than that. So he'll be exactly 30. It just makes the math easy. 3 years of 10 win seasons? Oh, no. He might be there in 2.5. So, yeah, he's passing Bill Belichick. In order to pass Shula, he would need 60 wins. It's actually 58 from now. Let's say 2 more this year, so 56. He'd need 56 wins for the remainder of his career. Same thing. On average, he wins 12 games per season. He'd have to coach 4 or 5 more years. I don't understand why. And this was pointed out by Josh Briscoe, our Chiefs contributor. I do not understand why, even though both of these guys have talked about football, we understand that they are football guys. The only thing they care about is football. It controls 90% of the way they think, act, absorb life is football. They feel like they never want to quit. We talk about Bill Belichick like he's a spring chicken. He's 7 years old. He's going to go back and coach college. And it's crazy that Andy Reid might coach 6 more years in the NFL. I don't think that's crazy.
Right.
I think Andy Reid might very well coach 6 more years in the NFL. And because Bill Belichick's leaving, he's going to have a very good chance to go down as the single greatest coach in NFL history in everyone's mind. It will require at least 1 more Super Bowl. I think realistically probably 2. He doesn't have to catch. It's the same thing as Tom. Doesn't have to catch Bill. Just got to be close.
But for this exact conversation and why he doesn't have to have the exact number, just like Mahomes and Brady, if you do something that group didn't do, and that, of course, would be 3-peating this year.
Yes.
You do that, that almost counts for 2.
It does. And not just almost.
You know what I mean? And so
maybe
that's where, whether we're talking Andy and Belichick or we're talking Mahomes and Brady, and how do you maybe make your case without having the same Super Bowl rings? That's how. You 3-peat. You do something that even they couldn't do. If Andy has a 3-peat on his resume and he passes Belichick and wins, even if he's 2 rings overall off the pace, there's a strong case there. And I just think people will remember Andy more fondly, unless, for NFL, than they will Belichick. Belichick, had the unbelievable run, but the last 4 years were not great. Or last 3, whatever it was, without
a few years
Brady.
Before.
Whereas we know Andy, no matter what, whenever he retires, he's going to go out with Mahomes as his quarterback, which means he should be in the playoffs every single year and have a chance to win a Super Bowl every one of those years. And that's a powerful thing in how the perception will be when he hangs it up. And I'm with you. You and I, when we first started doing this show together 5 years ago, when there was noise then about how much longer. I remember there were other people that pushed back. You and I were like, I think
5 to 7.
5 to 7. And people are like, no, 3. And now here we are 5 years later, and we're saying another 5 years.
I do think he'll coach another 5 years, which means I think he's a lock to pass Bill Belichick in everything but Super Bowls, which is not a lock. Mm-hmm. He is only 5, dead serious. You might not even realize this. Andy Reid is only 5 wins away from the all-time most wins in playoff history as a coach. Just 5. So he can't beat it this year. But if he goes to at least an AFC title game this year, or at least a Super Bowl this year,
that's 3.
That's 2 more. Because remember, he won't play in the opening round.
If he wins the Super Bowl, sorry.
If he went to the Super Bowl, a couple of wins. So, I mean, he could have this in 2 years, maybe 3. He's certainly going to pass that. 5 wins is not that many playoff wins for Andy Reid. That's 1 or 2 a year for the next 5. He is only 30 wins off, as we just previously discussed, from wins there. So he's going to pass him in wins. He's going to pass him in this. He's going to always have the he didn't cheat, and he did it with someone else. He went to a Super Bowl. He didn't win it, but he went to a Super Bowl, and he went to 3 consecutive NFC Championship games with Donovan McNabb, who will not even get in the Hall of Fame. So with a non-Hall of Fame quarterback, Andy Reid took a team to 4 consecutive, whatever it was, NFC Championship games, and went to a Super Bowl. Like, he'll have that on Bill. Like, I think that there's probably people who already make the argument that Andy Reid is the best coach of all time, which is crazy because that's how you make dynasties. Like, if it always goes back to the same thing. Said, hey, what's the single biggest reason you think the Chiefs will 3-peat this year? If I just had to give a reason, I don't know. They have the single greatest coach in NFL history, and at worst, the second best quarterback in NFL history. Like, at worst, second best at both. Okay, so like at worst. And so I understand you'd be like, well, they had first and first or second and second. Yeah, I was like, look how many Super Bowls they won. No other team in NFL history, besides the Patriots, had the combination of one of the 3 best coaches of all time and one of the 3 best quarterbacks of all time. The last team to do it won 6 championships together. So, yeah, you know what? I'll be honest. I think I'll probably get there.
913-586-7965. The Jays Southland Toast Service text line. Someone asked, hey, do you think Andy would have had this if he hadn't come to Kansas City? Do I think you would have had success in, let's say, Arizona? Because that was the team.
Anywhere.
Sure. Do I think it'd be to this extent? No, because he has Patrick Mahomes in this group, and it's a kind of perfect setup that they have. Would Andy, instead of having 270 wins, would he still have probably like 240 or 250 and still be in the top 5? Yeah. Would he have a chance to 3-peat if he wasn't in Kansas City? No, I don't believe so. But he was going to have success wherever he went. To this extent, I don't think anybody could have dreamed of what this tenure has been for Andy, where he's 140-52 as the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. And he's obviously got the multiple rings going for a 3-peat.
Yeah, it's just hard. I can't believe Bill still wants to do it. Like, because part of it is like the same. Like, I understand it's been your entire life, it's your identity. You can still just talk about football. Just quit. And I know it's easy for me to say if I had $80 million and I was 72, I'd just retire.
Yeah, Bill's getting $10 million a year, and he gets to set up his son potentially.
And I know, and the whole kid part, and is like
we still don't know the details around that, right? If
we don't know if it's language. We don't know if there's language in the contract, but it's pretty obvious. Like, his son's going to be his defensive coordinator, and
of course,
that automatically makes it interesting. And if that, his son's only coached 1 year in college and had a good first year as a DC with the Washington Huskies. They definitely improved defensively under him and the new regime that's there in Washington. And remember, there were photos Bill Belichick was like going to Washington games. He's talking to
college. He liked being on
campus.
Yeah,
he enjoyed that, and maybe he also wants a new challenge. But I still believe the NFL basically telling him no. And he saves face by not being embarrassed going through another NFL coaching cycle without getting a gig.
Does anyone have a good answer other than, I guess the best answer is they don't want to give total control? Someone help me genuinely, because I'm baffled by it. How can an NFL team not want Bill Belichick to be their coach? Like, I genuinely don't understand it. So, for instance, if Andy Reid quit tomorrow and the Chiefs could choose any coach, and Bill Belichick's like, I'll come here. I'd be pretty interested.
I'd interview him. So other teams interviewed him.
He'd be pretty high on my list.
I interview him. I wouldn't hire him.
But, it just depends on how the interview went.
I would interview him. I wouldn't hire him. The same thing in Atlanta. I think he would want too much control. He would want a different general manager. And I would say, no, we're not doing that, Bill. And I think that would be a big problem and a big hang-up. I also, in general, while he's been the best defensive coordinator in NFL history, it's basically him and Spags as far as I'm concerned, in terms of coordinators when they were, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm not hire. I told you, I wouldn't hire a defensive coordinator to a defensive-minded head coach. I just wouldn't. I'm not saying there aren't examples of it working. There's plenty of D coordinators that have had success. I am not, in 2024, hiring a defensive-minded head coach.
So for the most part, I agree with you and that sentiment. You and I have talked about this before. I agree with that sentiment 99.999% of the time. I think when we're talking about the single most successful head coach of all time, I am probably having a different conversation. So, for instance,
he's also 73 years old.
I understand that, but I just need 5 to 7 great years, and then what am I getting out of a coach that doesn't work anyway? Like, if I were right now, and some of these coaches are already fired. Like, I would have fired Matt Eberflus. last year and hired Bill Belichick, right? I would have been more than happy to do that. The teams, if I had Mike McCarthy, I'd fire him for Bill. If I had, I'm trying to think about the guys I'd fire. Doug Peterson, I'd fire him for Bill Belichick. Antonio Pierce, get out of here. Be gone. We don't want you anywhere near our squad. And like, if you think about like Bill and the Raiders, it's like, yeah, of course. We're a loser franchise who needs to win. Andy, and this goes back to the Andy thing for me a little bit. The Chiefs, and I don't know if Chiefs fans want to hear this. The Chiefs are one of the 10 worst NFL franchises in the NFL before Andy Reid got here. They hadn't won in a billion years. They were having massive off-field stuff. They stunk. They were never good at quarterback. They were bad. They were a bad franchise, not a bad team. Bad franchise. Andy Reid made them a good franchise through professionalism, if nothing alone. Bill Belichick brings a seriousness to your organization that if you're a loser franchise, you have not possessed in a very long time. That's why I'd be tempted. Like, that's why, like, if I were the Raiders, I'd be like, yeah, Bill, you can have the job tomorrow. Well, I mean, I'll cut anybody you want. They can all
clearly that's not how NFL teams felt.
I know.
Right? I mean, it's clearly not. I know it's wild to think, like, why wouldn't you want that? I think, word gets around, in whether it's Robert Kraft having conversations. There was that report. Who was that from ESPN back when the Falcons didn't hire him? It basically was like there was rumors, at least. I don't think it was ever confirmed. Well, there were rumors that Robert Kraft had called Arthur Blank, and that the rumor was that Arthur Blank had said, like, basically warned him. But I don't know if we never got that confirmed.
He said that he was fine with Fontenot. The rumors were that the Falcons were worried that their jobs were at risk when Bill came in.
Correct, because he was going to clear the house.
Commanding it, because they're cowards. So, like, these teams, these GMs won't let the coach come in because they're afraid he might challenge their status quo of what? Being 6-7 and in third place in the NFC South? Oh, no. Like, if I'm an owner, if you're scared of Bill Belichick challenging your status quo, well, then you're not right for this job anyway. You should be able to have a challenging person in your building who's done nothing but win, essentially, for 20 years.
I think there's a lot of, clearly, GMs in the league and maybe owners that look at what happened when Brady left, and they're kind of terrified of that. Like, we've all acknowledged what Belichick's accomplished, but there's still a strong belief from people like, oh, it was really Brady, wasn't it? Even though Belichick defensively helped Brady win multiple rings to make it happen. But I think that really soured people, clearly. And that had an impact on other teams, and they're worried that, can he win with a Kirk Cousins? Could he have won with a Michael Penix? Pick wherever, right? And that's the challenge. Now he goes to college, and he's going to have one of the largest NIL budgets in college football, which automatically is going to give you a chance to compete, because no matter what your program is, if you have the fifth most money to offer to players, they're going to commit to you solely for the money. Like, I'm not saying they're going to win a national championship, but we know it's not a level playing field right now financially. Their NIL budget, if it's a top 5 NIL budget, then they've got a chance to compete, because there will be a kid that says, yeah, never in a million years would I've considered it going to North Carolina. But, you're going to offer me, let's just say, $2 million more than anybody else can? Yeah, I'll go there.
I'll just assume right now, I don't know how which ranking system people in college care about more, because there's just so many more teams. Drew, I bet you right now that Bill Belichick finishes with a consensus top 20 defense in all of college football next year. He's the best defensive mind in football history.
Oh, I agree. But also, that factors into how good they are. But that's not how he'll be judged. You know that. It's going to be, does he in his 5 years, can he get North Carolina to a college football playoff? He's
going to be trying to win the Iowa way.
I don't even think that's
I would totally bet on him. If you give me, like, right now, I get 5 years to cash my bet. Will Bill Belichick have North Carolina in the college football playoff for one of the years? I would bet he does, because I believe that the setup in college football now, you have a GM, you basically have a scouting department / recruiting department. You have a capologist. Sounds like the NFL, doesn't it? And I know Bill Belichick, if he's not going to actually have to go to your house to recruit, and Deion doesn't do that either, I think Bill, we know, can coach. And there will be plenty of kids with the money that they can offer, and there'll be somebody's parent that says to their son, hey, this guy coached Tom Brady.
He's going to make you rich.
This guy knows what it takes to get to the league. That's going to be intriguing to a lot of people. Not everybody, but to a lot of people, and I think he'll have the talent to where, I'm not saying they're going to win a national championship, but I think he gets them in a college football playoff during one of the 5 years he's there.
That I think is the selling point, kind of like what Deion is given as well with Colorado. It's like, I know what it takes to get, like, if you want to get to the NFL, like John Calipari.
You can't argue that it's working for Deion. I mean, they're way better than they were.
Right. At Kentucky, John Calipari was always like, come to me if you want to get to the NBA. Like, I'm not here to coach you. Like, I'll coach you in college, but I'm going to get you to the league. That's kind of what Bill is, that transitional period to get those players to the NFL. In the best shape or position that they can be in.
Sure. On a less serious note, am going to enjoy watching Bill Belichick be put into the college sideshow. Like, he's standing next to a giant humanoid Pop-Tart going down in a machine.
He gets dumped in mayo after the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
I'll be honest, I am kind of looking forward to, like, some freshman at North Carolina trying to ask him something in a press conference. Some pimple-faced 19-year-old
student reporter
who just got off a bender at the frat house last night, trying to tie in some question to Bill Belichick. I'm sorry, that part does. I am kind of looking forward to that.
To what you guys said, I think that the Manning cast Belichick, I think that the evaluating tape analyst Bill Belichick, I think is what's going to have to transition to college, where you're going to see the more fun side of Belichick, where you got to relate to 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Yeah, I think he has to change. He can't be old curmudgeon Bill Belichick, kind of an a-hole to the in press conferences and in events and things like that. We know he has a personality and away from football, but can he bring that, knowing that you look, North Carolina also, it's not like North Carolina had this young 35-year-old head coach before him. I mean, Belichick's a year younger than Mac Brown even.
And Mac Brown was dancing in the locker room and everything,
So
too.
what's the energy level there from Belichick, and do we see a different side of him? And if we do, I think
like
that'll
Brian
help.
Kelly.
Oh, my gosh, it'd be incredible if we have the same video of him doing the dance with the recruit.
No.
It'd be amazing.
No way.
I need him in a TikTok video with one of his players, yes.
I mean, what trend is... Like, if he's doing TikTok trends, I want it to be the ones...
On to Clemson.
No, I want him to do, like, the active dance TikTok trends if he's doing something like that, you know? Like, it's got to be something, like, absurd if Bill Belichick gets on TikTok.
When is he getting introduced?
I guarantee his girlfriend has TikTok.
When is he getting introduced?
There's a video of him showing up on campus today.
But, like, when's his press conference? Because that'll tell me a lot. Like, right away in the press conference, is it the same old, college was intriguing to me, and I don't know the coach college. Or is he going to actually have some energy and be ready to go? And that's what I want to see.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Very fascinating. I mean, easily one of the weirdest stories in the NFL in a long time, in my opinion.
Yeah. And a lot of people... Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
I was just going to read a text. Someone talking about relating to 19-year-olds. Again, as we've said, he has proven he can recruit some young talent in one aspect of his life. We'll see if he can do that in football. I agree.
I did see something come across my page again, which has made me laugh a couple of times over the last few years. Sports Reference, which is a site you and I use all the time. It's a stats-based page in which, like, we're just trying to keep track of, like, I want to see what Xavier Worthy's last 4 games look like. That's where I go, right? I go over to Sports Reference, and I check out the most viewed players. They release their most viewed player pages by state for the NFL, and it was incredibly telling. All of the Midwest was Patrick Mahomes. Oh, shocker, right?
Yeah.
All of that lower East Coast spot was Lamar Jackson. But I just want you to know that there are 3 places in this country that you should feel bad for, because the most viewed pages in 3 places were sad. In Maine, and also Massachusetts, it's Tom Brady. I mean, they're just sad scrolling. What did Tom Brady do?
That's their guy.
Can I hope to see the stats? Oh, please,
That's
Tom.
their guy.
Tom Brady. He hasn't played in years, but searching Tom Brady gets worse. In Louisiana, Drew Brees. They got Derek Carr. I don't even know who's starting for him this week.
What, you want
Rattler.
them looking up Hainer or whatever the quarterback
They should be
be?
looking up their wide receiver, Alvin Kamara stats. They're still looking up Drew Brees stats. Dude, he hasn't played in 5 years.
They're still looking at Michael Thomas numbers.
And then the worst one of all, up in the state of Washington, stalking their ex. Their most searched player page in Washington State was Russell Wilson.
Again, like one of the most successful athletes to come out of there recently.
You're still searching Russell Wilson
When's the last
stats?
time he
At
played?
least this year, they're probably saying, that's the Russ we knew from Seattle. He's having a good year. That one makes a little more sense. They're like, wait, Russ is doing what now after having crappy numbers in Denver?
And they're like, come back home, Russ, please.
They're not
we
looking
miss
up
you.
Geno Smith stats, even if he's playing good.
They can't search a DK Metcalf. They got some good players in Seattle.
Maybe they're looking at
They're out here stalking the ex, dude. Russell Wilson,
You don't think that Chiefs fans 20 years from now are still going to be reliving the Mahomes days and looking up the 50 touchdown, 5,000-yard season?
I don't need to look it up. It'll just be every NFL record.
In fairness, I do think it's a little bit different, though, when you're dealing with like the potential greatest quarterback of all time compared to Russell Wilson.
Yes. Russell Wilson, that's sad behavior. At least Drew Brees is a Hall of Famer.
Well, for Seattle, Russell Wilson was really good. Won him a ring.
Do you not think Russell Wilson's a Hall of Famer?
This year is helping him immensely. And if he finishes like this,
he's got a chance.
Because Denver kind of ruined that for him. But if he plays this way for another couple of years, or certainly if he were to surprise everybody and get the Steelers to a Super Bowl, then it cancels out. Like if he got the Steelers to a Super Bowl this year, we would agree. Wouldn't that cancel out how bad it was in Denver, like automatically? Because people have wrote Russ off, including us, right? I thought Russ was cooked.
Text line's
and
right.
He's cooking.
There is one more funny one I forgot. Illinois' top search was Justin Fields. Yeah,
Again, they're looking at what he was doing early in the season.
They have Caleb Williams. What are they looking at? Why are they trying to compare Justin Fields to Caleb Williams for?
Wow.
Don't do this to yourself. Move on. Alex, when you break up with someone, you don't need to get on their Instagram page every week,
Papa,
to see what they're up to. You can just let it go. You can just let it go. The race, you don't need to check Instagram every week. I'll just be honest. If they put out the Instagram pages Alex has looked at the most, if it was your ex, dude, I'd be a little concerned.
It's not, I can promise you.
I'd be a little concerned that the Instagram page you view the most is the ex. Not this year, but like the year before or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What would be the most viewed Instagram page of mine? That's a good question. I mean,
probably a friends page, I imagine.
I mean, it's kind of pathetic. It's probably like the Chiefs page or our station page, if we're just being real. As far as, you know what I mean? Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. It's like whoever story pops up on the top, I click, and like most people, I click through the story. I just click on the story and I just see what's up. That's about. I don't know if I go to specific pages. It's more like,
does Instagram do year in review?
What's that?
Does Instagram do year in review?
That's a good question. They shouldn't
like
they?
Spotify or
pretty much everybody does it.
No, look, if you put up a story and I follow you on Instagram, I'm probably clicking on your story. I don't think I'm necessarily going to your page. Yeah.
So whoever puts the most stories out is probably the person you see the most.
That's true.
That's all. Just thought it was funny.
Up next, we'll get to what's trending, and we'll be joined by former Chiefs wide receiver Danan Hughes. Want to ask him about the Jerry Jeudy matchup with Trent McDuffie that we're going to see on Sunday, and if he agrees with us about what Bill Belichick's future in North Carolina could look like as well. We'll get his perspective on it next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
The holidays are happening at Diamonds Direct. Still rushing to finish your holiday shopping? Don't worry, we've got you covered. This weekend only, it's our last chance sale with 20% off virtually everything. Earrings, bracelets, pendants, and more. Plus special financing options up to 5 years. But don't wait, this is your final opportunity to find the perfect gift at the best value before the holidays. Plus special designer appearances. Visit us during extended holiday hours or shop online and pick up in store. Our 20% off last chance sale ends Sunday. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com.
Thanks to Total Wine, you saved more on all the gifts for the ones you adore. Wine, spirits, beers, all nestled on shelves. Got some advice from our helpful elves. Oh, so many gifts to explore when you go to Total Wine and more. Bottles so delightful, whoa. Priced so amazingly low.
Curbside pickup available and the lowest prices for over 30 years only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up! And call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
When your little one has a cold with a fever, try new DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. It's the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever offers fast, effective cold and fever relief for kids ages 6 and up with a delicious grape flavor that kids love. New DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever will help them feel better fast so they can get back to the fun stuff quickly. New DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
Man, you need to look great for holiday events. Let Peter's Clothiers give you the perfect fit you're looking for. From jackets to suits to trousers and more, in sizes to fit every man. PetersClothiers.com or stop in today at 124th and State Line.
This football season, the best place to watch the game is Johnny's Tavern. Tons of TVs, tons of fans, and cold Yingling beer. You could win big. Scan the QR code at any Johnny's Tavern to enter for a chance to win a tailgate prize pack and the grand prize. All thanks to you, Yingling. Win a hosted party at the Johnny's Tavern of your choice. Each location will have a winner, so don't miss out. Grab your friends, grab a Yingling, and get in on the action. Only at Johnny's Tavern, in partnership with 96.5 The Fan, your home for football, fun, and Yingling. Must be 21 plus to enter.
'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, except the 2024 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to a charity of your choice to help those in need this holiday. These charities include the ASPCA, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Meals on Wheels, and the National Park Foundation. And locally, you can choose the Hillcrest Transitional Housing. Have some fun this holiday and fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Escape to your new coastal seafood paradise. Introducing Aqua Pennies, where the freshest seafood, a full-service raw bar, prime steaks and chops, exquisite handcrafted cocktails, and a one-of-a-kind atmosphere come together in perfect harmony. Aqua Pennies is now open in Park Place, Leawood. Don't miss out. Experience something truly different. Tantalize your taste buds and elevate your evening out. To learn more, go to aquapennies.com.
Coast into Aqua Pennies, now open for lunch.
Hi, it's Derek Johnson, and I know there's nothing better than being part of a team. A group of great people you can count on and learn from. The Sheet Metalworkers, local number 2, are growing their team and looking for quality men and women who want to build Kansas City's future. While you're making KC a better place, you'll also get great pay and benefits while gaining lifelong skills. Explore the possibilities at sheetmetal2.org. That's sheetmetal2.org. And take a step towards a fulfilling and rewarding way of life.
Are you playing Roofer Roulette? That's when you bet your roof and your home on the first random roofer to ring your doorbell. Why do that when JR & Company offers a free hail and wind report online at jrstormcheck.com.
Pizza just goes better with Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Pizza.
Thank you. But don't take our word for it. In fact, don't take any words for it. Crispy and cheesy, paired with delicious and refreshing. My mouth is watering already. Ooh, too high. Yeah, we've all been there. Every bite is better with Pepsi.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on Kansas City's FM sports station. 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Number one on What's Trending has to do with the practice update today, and not good news on the DJ Humphreys route. The Chiefs saying Humphreys will not practice. That'll be 2 straight days. We know how this usually works. We would call it very unlikely at this point. If DJ Humphreys plays on Sunday, I think
you're not practicing by Thursday.
No,
it's not usually a good sign.
Playing. He's not playing on Sunday. I think I would be stunned, wouldn't you? At this point,
I would.
And so that means we're back to the question: is it going to be Wanye at left tackle, or is it going to be Joe Thuney sliding over and Mike Caliendo playing left guard? We don't have the answer to that yet.
My guess is Wanye.
We know how they did it in the final drive of the game against the Chargers. It was Wanye that came on off the bench. They did not slide Joe Thuney over. They're going up against Myles Garrett. The hope is that DJ Humphreys maybe is available for that Texans game.
Next up on What's Trending, in a surprise move by West Virginia, Rich Rodriguez is heading back to be the West Virginia Mountaineers head coach again, back to his alma mater after a 17-year hiatus from the school. He just took Jacksonville State for the past 3 seasons to at least one, I think, like run. Obviously, he was pretty good during his biggest days at West Virginia. That's what helped him get some other jobs when he had left West Virginia eventually. 17 years later, Rich Rodriguez coming back to West Virginia. I mean, I'm trying to think about what the comparison would be. Who was Kansas's coach 17 years ago who had a good run?
I mean, Mangino?
Yeah. Wouldn't this be the same? Mangino had a winning record. Mangino back to coach Kansas. Could you imagine? Could you imagine your thought process if you found out Mangino was back to coach Kansas?
Saban going back to LSU.
In fairness to Rich Rod, he's had success at Jacksonville State. And he was at Arizona for a little bit.
And they were okay. They weren't bad when he was at Arizona.
They're better than what they are, like, literally right this second.
He's just terrible at Michigan.
Very true. Very, very, very true. That did not work out.
He got fired there.
Next up on What's Trending, of course, is that news that Bill Belichick's going to be the next head coach of North Carolina Tar Heels. A press conference expected around 1 o'clock today. 5-year deal worth $10 million a year. That's according to The Athletic. We'll see. I'm curious just what he says at the presser today, man. Like, as we said, what's his style going to be? Is he different and all of that? But
this is his first introductory press conference since he took the Patriots job 70 billion years ago. So, yeah, I don't know. It is fascinating. It's one of the weirdest moves I can remember.
Yeah.
Lastly, on What's Trending, the Suns have shown some interest in Jimmy Butler after the rumors were that the Miami Heat were looking to move on from him. Apparently, he'll have a little bit of say in where he ends up. That's a big move, obviously, if Jimmy Butler's on the move every year in the NBA. Nobody moves star players more than the NBA. It's
crazy.
No other sport does it this way. But apparently, the Suns are one of his preferred landing spots for Jimmy
I'll point out one more I just came across within the last minute from Ian Rappaport. The Broncos and left tackle Garrett Bowles have agreed to terms on a 4-year, $82 million contract extension with upside to $86 million. He gets $42 million guaranteed. Of course, he's protecting Bo Nix's blind side, and one of the big reasons Bo Nix and the Broncos have had great success this year is, hey, they're one of the better O-lines in football, and you're giving a rookie some extra time, that's going to help things. So
kudos.
Big signing for the Denver Broncos. That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. But let's go out to the hotline and talk about the Chiefs and talk about where things stand with their offensive line. Former Chiefs wide receiver Danan Hughes is going to join us. He, of course, will be on the call from Cleveland. 9 a.m. pregame coverage. Kickoff at noon right here on 96.5 The Fan. And our conversations with Danan Hughes are presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Danan, good to have you back on the show, man. I want to start with the update we got from practice, or will have from practice today, which is that DJ Humphrey's not going to practice again. It's a Thursday already, so what do you think they do? Is it Wanye going back at left tackle, or do they go with Joe Thuney sliding him over?
Yeah, man, it's a little disappointing. Obviously, there were some good things. Obviously, a little bit of rust that you saw on DJ Humphreys, but I felt like the offense looked like they were more confident and comfortable. Patrick was getting the ball out of his hands quickly. He wasn't at his best, but he seemed like he was solid, and there was going to be some continuity that would have been gained. So just having this step back with DJ Humphreys, it's unfortunate. I think, to answer your question, they'll go back to Wanye Morris with keeping in their back pocket, moving Joe Thuney out there in case there's an issue. Now, Myles Garrett is the issue, and that's something that we have to be paying attention to. You cannot afford to leave Wanye on an island against Myles Garrett too often. Doesn't mean that he can't do his job, and doesn't mean that you have to chip every single time, because let's remember, if you chip with a running back or you chip with a tight end, one, doesn't guarantee that you're getting any kind of better protection, and two, that leaves one less person out in the routes. So now if you don't have that dominant receiver, you don't have that dominant number one guy, let's say you leave and you have Travis. If you chip with Travis, he's our number one target. He's the best guy to go against this defense and the defensive backfield. He's the automatic mismatch. So then you leave him kind of in the lurch without having the ability to put pressure on opposing defenses. If you chip a running back, then that leaves a linebacker to possibly double team Travis or get in the way of under routes and shallow crosses. So you got to be calculated and careful in how you approach it. But for me, as a former player, like, I just want somebody to do their job. And I know coaches have to develop schemes to help guys at times, but just helping them at times, not for an entire game.
When you look at what they're doing, so this is the number one pass rush team, pressure rate team in the NFL is the Cleveland Browns, because Myles Garrett, obviously front and center, but they're good at getting it kind of across the board. Because Cleveland is bottom 10 in the league in rushing yards allowed, should this just be a Pacheco game? Like, do they need to try to neutralize some of that pass rush by being a team who runs the ball more this week?
I don't know if more. Like, I don't buy into the idea that, okay, let's look at the stats and look at the numbers and the metrics. Oh, they don't defend the run well. Let's run the ball down their throat. Like, I think there's a component of that, but you also have to balance what's your identity, what's gotten us to 12-1, what's gotten us to this point, and try not to just play into opposing teams' weaknesses, because that can tell you that you don't necessarily have an identity. So you got to be careful about that. So when you look at teams and they're not good against the pass and not good against the run, remember we played against the Carolina Panthers, was a team like that. And if we try to get outside of ourselves, we may not be as efficient as we need to be. And then you get predictable, because then you put yourself, okay, we're going to run the ball down their throat. And next thing you know, you're in 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9s. And now that pass rush becomes even more dominant. So you got to be careful with it. But I do agree. I'd like to see us run the ball consistently, because I feel like that's the recipe for success in December and January. We showed that last year with Isaiah Pacheco. So there's a balance that's necessary, but like, we can't go too far into playing into opponents' weaknesses, because in the NFL, a weakness for a few games can be somebody's strength on any given day, and then predictability is the weakness for all. Like, if a team blitzes a lot, that can be a weakness. And if they can't stop the run, but you try to run the ball and it's not necessarily your strength, then it becomes your weakness. So you got to be able to put together a game plan that is a healthy balance, but take advantage of what you can take advantage of.
We're talking to Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. You'll hear him on the call this Sunday right here on 96.5 The Fan, along with Mitch Holthus, Dan Israel, and Josh Klingler as the Chiefs take on the Browns. And it's a Browns team that has been more entertaining to watch since Jameis Winston took over. But we know Jameis; he's great at he keeps both teams in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like, both teams are in the game with Jameis Winston out there. I feel like this is the week if the Chiefs, who are bottom 3 in takeaways, if they're ever going to get one, and if Trent McDuffie's ever going to get a pick, this feels like it's the game.
Yeah, they are -10 in the giveaway takeaway, and you're right. Jameis Winston is like the modern-day Jeff George.
There you go.
He's got a lot of flair to his game. He's going to give you opportunities to take the ball away. You just got to be ready for it when it happens. And that was the game plan when I played in the 90s against Jeff George. I remember Marty Schottenheimer and Gunther Cunningham saying, guys, he's going to give you a chance. Just be ready for it. And that's what you have to be. And so I feel like this is one of those games where he's athletic, he's mobile, but he does make some questionable decisions with the ball at times, and we got to be ready for it. And if we can't create turnovers and flip the field against this team where they're at now at 3-10, then I think we got bigger issues that we'll have to deal with, because we got to figure out how somehow to make it a little easier on the offense from a defensive perspective. And that's tough to say. I mean, let's face it, the defense has played like as strong as you could possibly play outside of 2 games this year. And to ask more of them is kind of a tough ask, but at the same time, when you're going against teams like this that are willing to give you the football, you got to be ready to take it, and you got to create situations where those tip passes go into our hands, the loose balls, that we're taking advantage of those. So this is a situation where I believe the defense can be ready for it, but Jameis Winston, he's Jeff George 2.0, and we got to take advantage of that.
Danan, I think it's probably because of the Chiefs' offensive struggles, or I don't know, the hilarious ways in which they win games sometimes. It had slipped under the radar for me until Patrick Mahomes yesterday at the podium said, Xavier Worthy's been playing a lot better and with a lot more confidence since Buffalo. I looked up the stats, and it's like 5 catches a game, 50 yards a game, pretty much consistently on those numbers each of the last 4 weeks. Are you seeing Xavier Worthy get better?
I definitely am. One, I will say this: the way he's absorbed the running, the playbook thus far in the season, even earlier in the season, was impressive alone. Lining up in the backfield, the flip phone, going in motion, jet sweeps, coming from the backfield, running out routes, catching the ball in various ways, running the ball as far as his rushing touchdowns. Like, to put all of that on the plate of a rookie is a lot. It tells you about the makeup of the kid. It tells you about how smart he is. And at the same time, it could have contributed to some of the lack of focus in regards to where he was on the field, positioning outside the numbers, toe tapping on the sidelines, etc. But then you get over the hump. I know you guys mentioned it earlier when I was listening and talking about the comparisons with he and Rashee Rice. You heard me all at the end of last year and leading into the beginning of this season that it was like, I wouldn't say it was day and night with Rashee Rice in the first 7-8 games last year and the second half of the season, but it was significantly different. And I think that's a recipe that we've seen with Andy Reid, specifically with receivers, a lot throughout his career, is that they take some time to get used to everything that's going to be put on their plate, and then sometimes before the bye week, at the bye week, there's something, a light that turns on, and then you see a whole different character, and that's what we're seeing with Xavier Worthy. And to be honest, that catch or lack thereof, a legal catch against the Bills, the deep pass where he lost focus and didn't know where he was on the field, that might have been the eye-opening situation for him, that he realized, okay, now I got to tighten the screws a little bit, and that's made him a better player since. So sometimes it can be different things. It could be just the nature of how long you've been in the system and how things become comfortable and you stop thinking and you just play. And then it can be something that can be embarrassing or catastrophic that makes you change your approach and tighten the screws up better. So whichever way it is, I do agree that he's better now and looks more comfortable and more productive than he was earlier.
Hollywood Brown was in Colorado yesterday, and he's getting maybe one final checkup, if you will, from the doctor to get clearance to come back and practice and play for this football team. Let's assume he gets cleared, and it looks, every indication is he's expected to. And whether it's Pittsburgh, whether it's, the last game of the year against the Broncos, when he is back, what do you think that looks like? I mean, I guess we're really talking about playoff time. I mean, is he a guy that you think gets, 25 to 30% of the snaps and he's running some of the underneath stuff? How do you think he could ultimately work back in for this team?
I think that would be a great starting point. I think the goal should be that once we get to the playoffs, especially if we get the number 1 seed and we're playing in the divisional round at Arrowhead Stadium, that game should be the point where he is a dependable number 1, number 2 guy and garnering, 75% of the snaps. Now, whatever way you can get him to that point, I'm all for it. Well, whether it's the doctor's decision, whether it's Matt Nagy and Andy Reid, whoever makes that decision, that should be the goal. It shouldn't be about Christmas Day getting X amount of snaps, at least a bulk amount of snaps. It should be a progression that from Christmas, maybe you play him a little bit against the Broncos, and you get him to the point where full speed is where he is when we play that divisional round. So I think it would be smart, maybe 20, 25 plays, get him in there on Christmas Day, make sure that those are 20, 25 plays, maybe 15 of them are targeted plays where he is supposed to be a viable receiver, where he can work full speed. Because let's face it, even though they're practicing hard now, at this juncture of the season, you're not going full speed man-to-man, bump and run coverage in practice. So just like Joshua Uche, just like Charles Amenahu, just like any of these guys, Isaiah Pacheco when he came back, it takes a little bit because the bullets are flying for real on game day differently than in practice. So it's going to take him a little while, but I think the progression plan should be the way to go, because I would hate to see there would be any steps backwards for him that doesn't allow him to be full speed or to be a complimentary receiver in that divisional round or in the AFC Championship.
I wanted to ask you one NFL adjacent question, Danan. How do you think it'll work for Bill Belichick at North Carolina? And I guess, are you surprised that no NFL team would give him a job? I'm stunned by that.
I am not totally surprised that an NFL team wouldn't give him an opportunity, because here's why. The number one thing is he demands almost full control. Excuse me.
Are you okay, Danan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
He demands full control.
We'll give you. You're good if you got no worries, man. If you need a second. We'll go ahead and we appreciate. No worries, man. No worries at all. Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver. Yeah, well,
who's going to hang up on Danan? He's going to a medical crisis.
I put him on hold. He's there. I put him on hold. I want to give them. I don't want to just leave him on the cough. I want to give the man a chance.
All right, let him get it out.
Yeah. If you want to hear him talk about Belichick, we can.
Belichick, you got me coughing now.
Yeah, exactly.
See. No, I would say this. I think that the NFL, a lot of the GMs, a lot of the owners don't want to concede total control over to anybody anymore, and that includes Bill Belichick and his style. It didn't necessarily work outside of Tom Brady, and I think that was a huge question mark. The other part of your question, surprised about going to college? Absolutely. One of his closest friends is Nick Saban, who just left the college ranks because of everything that's happening with the NIL. So for him to embark upon a new career at that level with that relationship he's had with Nick Saban, like, that's questionable, because you wonder, there's a reason why Nick left, and now you're going into that same cauldron. It just seems really perplexing. So it's going to be interesting to see. The kids these days are different. And I don't know if Bill Belichick in his 70s is going to be able to make that adjustment, but it's going to make for interesting TV for sure.
Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, will be listening to you guys in Cleveland, Ohio. Noon kickoff right here on 96.5 The Fan. Appreciate it.
All right, fellas.
There you go. Danan Hughes, former Chiefs wide receiver, of course, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City. I'm sure they're thrilled with the Cleveland trip. Yeah, that's a great place on the schedule.
Again, lovely this time of year.
Yeah. Now, again, it's
Who
not
doesn't love December in Cleveland? It's not negative 14
it's
or whatever.
negative 8 degrees Celsius kickoff on Sunday.
That makes it sound so much worse.
Yeah. If you missed that.
What's the weather supposed to be like in Kansas City this weekend? I've got an
not bad. Rain tomorrow, though, I think.
Ice skating.
I think rain tomorrow, but could be worse. Right now, the Christmas Day forecast looks pretty good, too. For this, I mean, it could be way, way worse.
It feels like a little too far of a look ahead for me. I don't think I trust the weather forecasting 13 days out.
That's fair. It could change.
I'm about a 4 to 5 day out, maybe.
That's fair. But I think rain tomorrow or Saturday. I think that's possible. Don't trust me anymore. Last time I Googled weather in a city, I got Celsius. So.
How often do you check the weather, man?
One of the first things I do on my phone in the morning.
You check the weather?
One of the first things.
Yeah. I don't ever check the weather before I leave. I just leave.
Yeah, I do. Especially in the wintertime, because I want to know, like, what, if I know that there's a big snowstorm coming overnight, like, I want to know that.
I feel like I catch wind of that if it's, like, going to be bad, you know?
Yeah. But
so
stuff
anything
like
else
that
just going to be like a normal temperature. Unless I'm going to do something outside.
So during the summertime, you might
like
not.
Sunday's going to be almost 60 degrees. Like, it's good to know. Okay, maybe that's a good day to do something else.
So a random day in June, Cody, you don't even look outside. You might not know it's raining because it's quiet rain. You just go down to the garage, you open up the garage door, and you're like, oh, I need a jacket. And then you go back in. Is that...
Raining in the summer does not change my attire. It's just raining. I don't put a jacket on. I just get in the car. I don't know. Okay. Maybe you pack an umbrella, but I usually just keep one of those in the trunk of my car.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just keep an umbrella in the car in case there's rain.
Yeah, I guess it's just like, I don't just keep gloves in my car, but if I know it's going to be really, really cold, that I'll make sure that, like,
I only wear gloves unless it's going to be like unbearably cold.
But I definitely
and I'm going to be outside for a length of time. Jacket's hit or miss for me, as you know.
But you're going to start wearing a cardigan as well.
Yeah.
Is that what you asked your wife for Christmas?
I like lightweight, like say this, like the Rouge jacket or like a hoodie. I like wearing like lightweight things that can just stay on as a layer, and then if I get hot, I can take them off. A full jacket, I do kind of hate getting stuck with a full ass.
You got to go with the vest, man. The vest is. I
don't even own a vest.
I know, but the vest is a good play.
I don't think I'm a vest guy.
I've never had one.
Until you try one
on. The puffer vest is the part. I might have to buy one puffer vest just to see. Just see what that does for me. The long sleeve shirt underneath. I've never done that.
I think you're going to look like in Succession. You're going to look like Kendall Roy in a vest.
No.
Might.
Gold, you could wear a nice like I got on the puffer vest over the hoodie.
See, I don't know
that's a nice little look.
I don't think you'd be a hoodie. I think you'd be a long sleeve tee guy.
Correct. Yeah, I don't think I would do hoodie under the vest. If I go puffer vest, it's going to be a nice long sleeve. Shirt underneath.
This is also why I don't own a puffer vest. I own exactly one long sleeve T-shirt.
Really?
What?
Not a long sleeve T-shirt guy. I one.
So you're hoodie or bust?
Yeah.
Okay.
T-shirt, hoodie, or bust. I'm not. This is not a joke. Singular long sleeve T-shirt. So like,
what if it's cold in the house? Like you'll just wear a hoodie?
Put on a hoodie. I'll just I've got like cheap zip up hoodies. I'll just put that on. I'll use a blanket. I know it's crazy concept. If I'm sitting, I'll use a blanket.
Heated blanket?
No, just a regular one.
Okay.
Knitted by my friend.
Those heated blankets, man. You have those on for more than like 15 minutes. You'll start sweating.
No, I don't have a
start burning up. They feel great for the first 10, and then you're like, okay, all right, so that's a little too much. Someone says Drew looks like McLovin. The vest looking. Someone says, is that a typo? They said first it says Drew is like McLovin. The vest looking like Aladdin. I think
I'll take Aladdin, man.
From
Aladdin.
Excuse me.
From the 6'2", it must be nice to work in a climate controlled environment all the time.
Ooh,
You'd be surprised how climate controlled it is.
I don't think we're allowed to complain because it's better being outside.
Yeah.
That's all.
Careful talking about the weather, though, Cody.
I'm learning a lesson. Tread lightly.
Coming up next here on Cody and Gold, we'll get to all 32. We'll talk a bit more about that Xavier Worthy connection, plus the random question of the day right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
It's Thirsty Thursday at Hy-Vee. Time to stock up the bar and fill up your tank. Earn 50 cents per gallon fuel savings on every $50 purchase of wine, beer, hard seltzer, and spirits. Mix and match all your favorite libations and get a 50-cent fuel saver with every $50 purchase. Stack up the savings and your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday at your Kansas City, Missouri Hy-Vee. Product or promotion differs by location. Offers valid where legal, available while supplies last.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save, only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hey, investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get in that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. Choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Give me one good reason why I should call DM Law.
How about 3 great reasons you should call us? 1, it's easy. You can hire us today on your phone. 2, it's fast. We can start helping you today. 3, the results.
After my wreck, DM Law got me $300,000. Mike's got this.
Call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
This holiday at T-Mobile, I'm joined by a special co-anchor.
What up, everybody? It's your boy, Big Snoop Deal Double G.
Snoop, let's talk about T-Mobile.
Okay, cool.
This holiday, get 4 lines for $25 a line. Plus, 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence and the all-new camera control on us.
Let's get cracking, like a breakfast egg.
You can use those eggs to make some eggnog, Snoop.
Respect.
And people do love T-Mobile, where you can save on every plan versus the other big guys when you switch.
You know, y'all can take some of those savings and buy some Snoop merchandise.
Always a great stocking stuffer, Snoop.
We up out of here.
Hold your horses, Snoop D-O-double G. Let's remind people one more time.
Head to T-Mobile.com and get 4 iPhone 16s with Apple Intelligence on us. Plus 4 lines for $25. Now drop that jingle.
With 24 monthly bill credits, 4 eligible trade-ins, and 4 new lines with autopay. Well-qualified customers plus taxes and fees and $35 per line connection charge. Cancel entire account before receiving 24 bill credits and credit stop and balance on required finance agreements due. $829.99. Credits end if you pay off device early. See how you can save on wireless and streaming versus the other big guys at T-Mobile.com/switch. Apple Intelligence requires iOS 18.1 or later.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, layoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and that means limited time savings on the paint pros need. Right now, save $15 on 5-gallon pails of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams All-Purpose Power Primer. Plus, get it delivered to your job site with free same-day delivery when you order by 2 p.m. Visit us in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 12/20. Delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowes.com/same-day delivery for details.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, layoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
At Harbor Freight, our low prices make us the place for gifts that keep on giving. Because when you give the gift of quality tools, you're giving someone the ability to fix, restore, and build for years to come. And with savings like these, you can even get something for yourself. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Stop by and give yourself the gift of great prices.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. Visit eatandys.com to find the location nearest you. Top your day with a smile.
Let me tell you about my good friend Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from Kansas City, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Tailgate with a pick 6, or grab a freshly made custom treat before or after a game. And tell him Mitch and Andy sent you.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Coming up in 25 minutes, we'll check in with Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and FantasyLife.com. It is playoff time for fantasy football. Starting tonight, Rams, Niners, who to start, who not to trust. We'll get into that coming up in just a bit. We're also 10 minutes or so away from the random question of the day. You guys can hit us up, 913-586-7965. That's the Jays Southland Tow Service text line. And don't forget to scan the QR code now through December 15th. Just a couple days left at any Johnny's Tavern location. Enter for a chance to win that tailgate prize pack and the grand prize, all thanks to Yuengling. Win that hosted party at the Johnny's Tavern of your choice. Each location is going to have a winner, so don't miss out. Grab your friends, grab a Yuengling, get in on the action only at Johnny's Tavern. In partnership with 96.5 The Fan, your home for football, fun, and Yuengling. Must be 21 or older to enter.
Shall we do some NFL news? A little all 32 there, Drew?
Yeah.
Look, I'll fire this thing
it.
off first because I think you're going to think I'm crazy. But I still think there's a 50-50 chance that the Denver Broncos miss the postseason. Their final 4 remaining games are the Colts, a team that trails them by a game and a half. The Chargers are 2 games. Chargers, Bengals, and Chiefs. All 4 of those games, based on the closeness in which they play games, are more than losable for Denver. That Chiefs game is actually kind of interesting because maybe that game won't mean anything to Chiefs. But with the amount of time they might have off, they'll probably have to play somebody in that game. But Miami's schedule, significantly easier. The Colts schedule, significantly easier. The people who are chasing them right now have a much easier go of it. And one of those games head-to-head. If they lose to the Colts this weekend, I think they're missing the playoffs.
So,
I think it's like 50-50 right now.
The only chance, though, they have to miss it, to me, is losing to the Colts. If they beat the Colts,
there's not enough games. If they lose to the Colts,
if you think the Broncos are missing the playoffs, you should be betting heavy on the Colts this weekend.
What's the line?
Maybe 3.5 or something like that in favor of the Broncos. I get your logic, and I agree with you if the Colts win. The Colts have to win. Okay. Otherwise, the Broncos, to me, are absolutely making the playoffs. I guess that's what I'm calling it a 50-50 chance because I think that those are pretty 2 even teams kind of stuck in nowhere. And I'm not saying Colts are not playing good football. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Both coming off bye weeks.
4 of the last 6.
Broncos are 3.5-point favorites.
But I mean, listen to the schedules real quick.
Yeah.
I just gave you what the Broncos are. They're essentially facing 4 close to winning teams or 500 teams. They face the Broncos. That's the Colts' toughest game. Tennessee, New York, and Jacksonville. What? I mean, come on. That's a joke of a schedule.
The challenge is if the Colts win, so then the Colts would go to 7-7. The Broncos
Dolphins could go to 7-7 with the win this weekend,
but the Broncos would fall to 8-6. The Colts would have the tiebreaker, but they still have to gain another game. The Colts, you agree though, right? If the Colts
I think
lose,
the Broncos are losing at least 2. But
you agree though, if the Colts lose and drop to 6-8 and lose a tiebreaker, it's over.
Yes,
okay.
it is done.
Right.
I will say Miami's is a little bit harder because they're at Houston. But at home versus San Francisco, that doesn't exactly look like the beast it used to. And then Cleveland and New York, those are 2 bad teams, bad football teams.
For me, I want to go to Cleveland, not to talk about the Chiefs, but their owner, Jimmy Haslam, was interviewed by ESPN recently, was talking about the status of the franchise, the state of the franchise, and gave a boost of confidence to Kevin Stefanski and their general manager. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a bad thing. But he also said, quote, "I'm a bit perplexed about why this 2024 season has gone the way it has." How are you perplexed? It's pretty easy to see what happened. Deshaun Watson sucks. You're paying him more than anybody. It's a worst contract in NFL history, and he also got hurt on top of it. And you're relying on Jameis Winston, who has been better, but still, come on now. Again, he keeps every team, both teams, in the game. It's not very perplexing. I think we all know where it's gone wrong.
Honest to God, it might be the easiest team to sort in the NFL. There are teams that I'm like, I feel like you should be better. Or I feel like you should be worse, and I'm a little confused about where you are. The Cleveland Browns might be the most obvious team in the league. They paid $240 million fully guaranteed to a quarterback who stinks. I don't know that there's any other mystery besides that. I mean, other than your number 1 offensive weapon, Nick Chubb, got hurt and didn't get to play for an entire season. So, like that, I guess, if you want to couple it to it. But
if he's watched the games, then yeah, he should understand.
Yeah, there is absolutely no mystery in why the Browns are no good. He's probably just like, we're well coached. We got a really good we got some really good defensive players. Should we be better? Like, no.
You don't have a quarterback.
Like, look at the worst teams in the league. Real quick here, Jimmy. The worst teams in the league have the worst quarterbacks. I mean, I don't even have to look. Other than the Bengals, they're the only they don't have the worst quarterback, and they're one of the worst teams in the league. Everyone else, it tracks. It's like, oh, my quarterback's Tommy DeVito. Oh, you're one of the worst teams in the league? I mean, who knew? Who could have seen this coming?
He's perplexed, man.
Perplexed.
Why didn't we, he's the guys with the Flying J travel centers. That's like him being like, how come we didn't sell any gas today? We didn't, Jimmy, we somehow ran out. We didn't have any today. Oh, I wonder why we didn't have that. And it's basically, you don't have a quarterback, you don't have gas, you're not making money at that place either, buddy.
There's a Flying J right near my daughter's dance studio. And I very rarely have to get to it. Forget her water, maybe go buy a bottle of water.
Center, yeah.
But it's right, and it's just like, it is an adventure in there every time, man. I mean, just... that particular one, it is a.
It's no Buc-ee's.
It is a wild ride. Man, they got people printing off like trucking invoices in there off of like dot printers. You know, the with the tearaway sides.
I love when you had to tear it. I actually kind of love that. I don't know why.
It's a little
like
satisfying.
It's like the ASMR videos or whatever. Yeah. I feel like that's why we like that as well.
You just want one of those.
I want to fold it and yeah.
By the way, let's get rich. I don't think there's a single person making ASMR videos of someone tearing off the sides.
Yeah, let's do that.
Paper.
A bunch of those. What do they call
We're
those?
We're gonna get rich.
What do they
off
call
of
that
those.
paper? It's got the three. I also like the usually get this at a car repair shop. It's got the carbon copy, like 3 of them.
Yeah, it's that too.
Yeah, it's the same thing. There's something about that. I don't know why.
No, I definitely agree with that. So we haven't really played it on our show. We were going to talk about it, but we didn't quite get to it. We'll get to it now. Brandon Graham, of course, has the comments regarding A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, but Nick Sirianni is trying to cover his tail. Listen to his explanation of the whole thing. He was asked about it, and this is what he said.
All I can judge things on is what I see on a daily basis. When I see, AJ and Jalen communicating about the game plan, eating lunch together every single day, praying with each other before the game. There's going to be speculation, and I get it, rightfully so, based on what's happened the last couple of days. But all you can do is judge what you see. I have more information. I see them every single day. I see what's going on in the building. And so you just have to, to me, we know what there's going to be noise, and I get, and I obviously get it, just based off of what's happened here in the last couple of days. But I go on my daily relationships with these guys, with myself. I go on the daily relationships that I see every single day.
He's trying to cover himself a little bit. You know
also,
what?
your job's more than just what you see, Nick. You're the head coach of the football team.
You know what? They might have a problem, but guess what? In front of me, everything's okay. I'm the head coach. As long as everything's okay in front of me, guess what? It's not my problem. We're 11-2. Their relationship issue is not my problem. He's trying to pass it off that it's not his problem because if it was, which it might be, he wouldn't be the head coach anymore.
This seems like a Big Dom problem. Big Dom's got to handle this thing in Philly. Also, you notice when we talk about the Chiefs' struggles, even though they're 12-1, or nationally there's narrative, way more concerning is the fact that you have, according to a teammate, your star quarterback and wide receiver maybe not getting along. That is way more concerning. Way more concerning.
And Brandon Graham's the undersold part of that, because he's talking about them. He essentially is like, I also wish that Jalen Hurts was playing better. That's essentially what he said. But the thing that got caught up in the clip was that him and the wide receiver don't get along. Meanwhile, the defensive player is like, I also think Jalen Hurts kind of stinks a little right now, and I think he should play better football, was the underlying tone of that sentence.
And that stuff coming out.
Nick Sirianni's going to lose him again. He's going to lose him again. He lost his team last year. They quit on him. That's why they lost in the postseason early.
But hey,
the next 2 weeks are going to tell you the story. They got the Commanders and the Steelers. And if they fall apart, just wipe them out of the playoffs.
But in front of Nick Sirianni, everything's okay. In front of me, everything's okay, guys. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
it's weird how he tried to pass that off.
Could you imagine that line of thinking in any other case? How Alex, how that'd be like saying when we were kids, how me and my siblings act in front of our grandparents. Yeah, I also didn't say any F words in front of Grandma and Grandpa. That doesn't mean I don't use them.
Right. Now,
I just don't say them in front of them.
In fairness, though, Nick Sirianni was not going to get in front of the media and say,
no.
Yeah, I've noticed it too. They hate each other. That was not going to that was not going to happen either.
The way that he should have said it though was, hey, you know what? Things get tense at your workplace. Things have gotten tense here. We're trying to win football games. We're 11-2. We're playing great football right now. It got a little heated. We're fine. We're going to go on to the next game. That's how he should have said it. The way he addressed it though, he didn't need to give the elongated 45-second answer. They pray together and they eat lunch together. Everything's good as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. I don't know anything else about anybody else.
Brandon Graham making those comments is unbelievable on his radio show. This is why Andy Reid doesn't like players having podcasts or their own shows and stuff, and I understand they have a player or two that have that, but it's why he doesn't like it. Brandon Graham wasn't even talking about football, though. The fact that he brought up a personal beef between two players is what was he thinking? What was he thinking about putting that out there publicly, even though he now says he's going to apologize to the team and he misread the situation? No, I believe him that that's happening.
He's just going to apologize to the team for putting their business on the street. It's supposed to be a locker room. You're supposed to keep that to yourself. He did not misread anything. He said that way too matter of fact.
That's right.
On the Chiefs' end, though, because we got this Browns game, which feels big again, even though it's against a bad opponent, because every game that you get a win against a bad team is one less week that the Bills or the Steelers can catch up for you for the number 1 seed. I missed it. And I don't know, you and I, we've been doing the show for the last month. It's not like that. We've certainly talked about games in which Xavier Worthy did something, but I didn't realize the leap forward he'd been taking. 5 catches, 50 yards a game. That's pretty much what he's averaging, almost to the number in each of the last 5 games. He is, at the moment, the most consistently performing wide receiver on the entire Chiefs roster. And I guess once we started doing the math, and it was week 11 that Xavier Worthy started to look really good, and we realized it was week 11 last year when it all clicked for Rashee Rice. I'm not saying he's going to have like a 500 yards receiving the rest of the year, including the postseason. But I do think they know Xavier Worthy's role now, and there's no more question about what he offers. The only question is, can he get a deep ball to go with it?
Listen to what Mahomes said about that. He was asked about the stretch and what he's noticed the last couple of weeks.
I mean, he's getting better and better. I think he's just playing with such more confidence. I think it really started in Buffalo, and it's kind of kept getting bigger and bigger as we kind of went throughout the rest of this year. I think as like we said, as we're trading those deep passes and really show off his skill doing that. He's getting open, so just trying to hit him on some of those. But he's showing his versatility and how he's able to work underneath, catch the ball, get yards after catch, and stuff like that. And I think he's going to continue to get better and better, which is going to help us going into the postseason.
That's what's changed. Intermediate routes, underneath, yards after the catch. It's not just only about can we connect on one of these deep passes. That has changed. That's what's
real
changed,
routes,
which tells you he's, as Danan mentioned, he's learning the offense more and more. And there is a correlation timing-wise to last year with Rice. So it was week 11 against the Raiders where all of a sudden Rice was a different player. 8 for 107, 8 for 64, 7 for 72, 9 for 91, 6 for 57, 5 for 127. That's how it ended in the regular season from week 11 on for Rice. He didn't play week 17. From week 11 to week 16. It feels like a similar thing is happening, and we're not saying that he's going to have 8 for 107 on Sunday, although if he connects on a deep pass, he might.
Maybe.
It's a really, really good sign, and that's why I asked Danan about Hollywood Brown integrating in this. If Hollywood Brown is a really good route runner as well, all of a sudden they got something going here differently.
It's all about protection now because I'm not worried. I am comfortable with the weapons they have going into it. Worthy's found a role. DeAndre Hopkins is a solid wide receiver. Kelsey's still getting the job done. Noah Gray's a good secondary option at tight end. Hollywood Brown, free play, right? Let's see what happens. But even if he doesn't add to the offense, they have enough offensive weapons in order to be a threat offensively in the postseason. It comes down to protection now. But Xavier Worthy, for the first 8 games, he was just kind of out there. They throw him a deep ball every once in a while, and they just kind of hope. But now he's running some of those Rashee Rice routes. He's not just taking a handoff in the backfield. He's running real routes, being targeted consistently. He's getting 6 to 7 targets a game. Consistently. It is, I'm not even kidding, 7, 6, 6, 7. He has 4, 5, 5, 4 catches. He has pretty much 50 yards a game. It's not just like there's no variance in it right now. He's just doing the same thing every week, which tells you certain routes are open consistently. I think he's in for a big final, 3 weeks of the regular season and then a postseason run. I think he could be a bigger part of that run than we want to admit yet.
Random question.
First, go find us on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. Like and subscribe if you'd like to watch 4 hours of the video of Cody and Gold over there. But for you, Gold, and for you, Drew, the text line, 913-586-7965. I'm going to play you an audio clip. It will be followed by a question. This audio clip is by Xavier Legette, a wide receiver who needs no introduction, honestly, just based on the pure comedy of his existence.
He was on the Amon-Ra, St. Brown podcast,
yes.
right?
Do you want to actually have you play it since that way the audience can hear it on the video streaming since I just talked about it? Xavier Legette was asked a question on the Amon-Ra, St. Brown podcast about foods he has consumed.
What's your hottest food take? So, is there something weird that you like to eat or something you don't like to eat that you can never eat that most people would eat? What's something in the food industry that that you have a weird opinion on?
Well, y'all probably seen that video when I tell them folks I eat coon, I eat raccoon.
You what?
I eat raccoon.
I didn't see that. I said, no, what do you mean raccoon? Like the raccoon?
Like a raccoon that you see in the trash can.
Where do you even eat that at? Where do you even get that?
I hunt it. I kill it. I skin them, cook them, eat them, all that.
So when's the last time you had a raccoon?
Thanksgiving.
So you went and got the Thanksgiving, you killed the raccoon, or you had you found
my cousins, all my people them hunting all that. So my cousins them they killed it.
Wait, what does it taste like?
It got its own taste. Everybody try to say stuff taste like cheese. But that coon got its own taste.
Interesting. I never heard that. That's a first. Eating a raccoon. What else? What else you eat? That's weird.
I eat squirrel.
Squirrel?
Squirrel, I've heard of that. People eat squirrel.
Okay.
Are you ready? Y'all boy come to my city and try all this stuff. I'm telling y'all gonna like it.
I mean,
I'm sorry, that is the most country person anyone has ever been in my
life. That's
life.
as country and as southern as it gets. It's incredible.
So I guess the question I have for you is, what's the weirdest thing you've eaten? Because I'm assuming raccoon is not your answer.
No.
But to say I eat raccoon, and then he's like, what do you mean? He's like, the animal you see in the trash, that's the one I eat, says everything you need to know. So what I want to know today, 913-586-7965, is what is the weirdest thing in your mind you have eaten? Shark is on my list.
This won't stun you because you guys know my food tastes are picky, to say the least. So this isn't even going out there. For me, this was pretty far out, and I haven't had it since. I was in New Orleans, but this is as far as I'll go, and it's not even that far. It's a normal item at plenty of restaurants, including our friends over at Jefferson's. Oyster. That's it, and that is. That was disgusting.
Raw oyster.
That's it. Raw oyster.
Not even fried,
That's
huh?
it. Nope. It was a raw oyster. I had it in New Orleans. I don't know. It's probably been 13 years now. Disgusting. The texture, all of it. No. Nope. And that's it. Because that shouldn't surprise you. That's as far down the food chain I'll go, I guess.
Rabbit and shark and snake and ostrich. Like I've had some of those, I think, over the years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where like you had like a burger, or it was served in like a restaurant setting where like they brought some of the in. That's probably somewhere on the list. Someone said monkey meat in the Philippines.
Monkey?
Monkey. Like Curious George, dude.
Someone says oysters are like snot.
I don't feel that way. I like that.
Someone says I've had raccoon and squirrel.
Chitterlings as well.
A lot of gator. I've heard. There's plenty of.
Someone
places
said they ate emu and crocodile in Australia.
I've had gator before.
I've had gator.
It's good.
You liked it?
I like gator. I've had deer as well.
Someone said they had camel while they were you serving in Iraq, they said. Camel?
I mean, that feels like a tough cut of meat. Camel?
You don't think it's tender?
Man, I don't know. That feels like it wouldn't be.
Raw squid from Japan.
I think the worst food I've ever had is, what's the name of it?
You eat Rocky Mountain oysters all the time, right? You were telling us.
Never had those.
No, I thought you had that a bunch.
That'd probably be on the list for lunch, just like today.
Oh, gosh.
Just leftovers in the fridge. Lutefisk is easily the most disgusting thing I've ever.
What is? Honestly, I have no idea what that is. Lutefisk.
It's fermented. It's like fermented, like gefilte fish.
Gefilte fish, then, and that is disgusting.
It's bad.
My grandparents ate that. Oh,
Bad.
Nurse Jen said that they've had deer and bison. Bison, I've heard, is very good.
I've had bison. That's good.
Man,
deer's pretty good.
I've never had squirrel.
No, I haven't either.
That just feels like it comes with like a certain amount of being country. You're like hunting a squirrel.
Like a raccoon that you see in the trash.
I love his accent so much.
Oh, the accent is. It's all time. He dropped a touchdown, unfortunately, against in the same podcast. The whole podcast is really funny with the Brown brothers, but Equiminius and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then they have Xavier Leggett on there. But they were talking about the catch that he dropped to, and his answer. It was the whole thing's entertaining.
So you went and got to Thanksgiving. You killed.
Now my kids, all my people, them hunting all that. So
our friend Joe says that he's had tarantula. What? Cricket soup and a tarantula. I'm not eating spiders. Okay. I'm not afraid of spiders, but I'm not trying to eat them either.
Yeah.
I've had a cricket. I'm not about to eat a spider. I guess I've had enough. Like nothing that sounds. I thought maybe somebody would have something on here that was like way off base.
Camel is pretty far.
Camel is pretty off base.
Someone says they ate pigeon hearts and a trip to China. Pigeon? Trash birds. Imagine the disease those things must carry. I don't want to eat any part of a pigeon, okay?
Flying rat.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That is a flying rat. I'm not trying to eat a pigeon heart.
Frog legs, some people have mentioned as well. Frog legs are popular.
I haven't had them, but yeah.
Not like out there
After,
dish, but it's
look,
odd.
I wouldn't eat it
I've
probably
had
anyway.
escargot, so snail.
I don't think I would eat it anyway, but after we dissected a frog in like seventh grade, and the smell of that formaldehyde and everything, and after dissecting, there's zero chance of ever eating frog.
I've heard frog legs are pretty good though.
Dissected a frog, never. Nope.
And would you? But I had to dissect a cow eyeball, and I still eat cow.
Oh, it's not the same.
I'm just saying, dude. It's not
Come
that
on now.
crazy.
Oh, yeah, the ground beef from the cow is the same as eating frog legs. Yeah. No.
Maybe it's a sheep's eye now that I think about it. Might not
If
have
you
been
go to like a true seafood place, I know Gold, obviously, you probably wouldn't dive into that, but
yeah, shrimp is all I had ate until I can't eat it anymore.
if you go to like if you go like on the coast to a true seafood place, like you'll find regular like gator, crocodile, sharks of all kinds, mahi, whatever the case is.
I will say, I've never had, people are
Crawfish.
mentioning the chitlins or chitterlings. I've never had them. The pictures of it over the years is disgusting. It's fried or stewed animal intestines, usually from, and the photos, dude, do not make it look appetizing. It's like, well, I don't want to eat any of that. Like, just no part of it.
Someone said zebra. I don't buy that.
Someone said they had whale bacon.
Zebra? Are you even allowed to eat a zebra? Is that not on like a list or something?
I don't buy it.
Like I ate a black
I don't
rhino.
buy it.
I don't think you're supposed to do that. Maybe in different parts of the world, man. I don't want to say for sure.
It says zebra. Certain types of zebra are being endangered. So I don't know. I don't know.
I did have a bite of pressed duck once. Do you know how pressed duck works? They put the
Pressed duck?
They put the whole duck into this giant thing. They just crank it down and squish all the stuff out of it. So that might be up there. Oh yeah, dude. It's pretty.
And then what's left to eat?
I mean, it's used in like pan sauce and like other stuff, and like you use the meat, but you use part of the juices as like the way to cook.
Pressed duck.
It's a rich person thing. I had a bite. The duck.
So you're rich.
It's a sauce made from the duck's blood, marrow, and they say juices.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not rich. Just like
You've had it though.
I've had a bite.
Mm-hmm. Up next, we'll talk some fantasy football with Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and FantasyLife.com. It's playoff time for you. How are you going to win this week? Who should you start? Answer that coming up next.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Van.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Are you going to start the new year dealing with the same old joint pain, losing sleep, not able to take walks or do what you love because your knees or hips hurt? Well, don't do it. Take action now to get the pain relief you deserve for 2025. Call QC Kinetics now and say goodbye to shoulder and back pain. QC Kinetics local medical professionals are waiting for you. Their advanced protocols in regenerative medicine have helped tens of thousands of people, and I'm talking about lasting relief. Imagine a new year without those achy joints, no more pain pills, no more steroid shots. QC Kinetics uses the healing properties of your own body to attack the root cause of your pain, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. This is the future of medicine. So set up your appointment today with QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone, 816-412-6299.
When your little one has a cold with a fever, try new DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. It's the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. DayQuil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever offers offers fast, effective cold and fever relief for kids ages 6 and up with a delicious grape flavor that kids love. New Dayquil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever will help them feel better fast so they can get back to the fun stuff quickly. New Dayquil Kids Cold and Cough Plus Fever. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring except the 2024 Subaru Share the Love event. Subaru will donate $250 to a charity of your choice to help those in need this holiday. These charities include the ASPCA, Make-A-Wish Foundation, Meals on Wheels, and the National Park Foundation. And locally, you can choose the Hillcrest Transitional Housing. Have some fun this holiday and fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Escape to your new coastal seafood paradise. Introducing Aqua Pennies, where the freshest seafood, a full-service raw bar, prime steaks and chops, exquisite handcrafted cocktails, and a one-of-a-kind atmosphere come together in perfect harmony. Aqua Pennies is now open in Park Place, Leawood. Don't miss out. Experience something truly different. Tantalize your taste buds and elevate your evening out. To learn more, go to aquapennies.com.
Coast into Aqua Pennies, now open for lunch.
Hey friends, it's noisy out there. With information coming at us all day, every day, it's hard to know what to trust, and the world of wealth management is no exception. That's why UMB Private Wealth Management helps you tune out the noise and tune into what matters most. They'll create a financial plan based on your unique goals, so it's your voice that comes through loud and clear. Get financial clarity. Go to umb.com/privatewealth to schedule an appointment. That's umb.com/privatewealth.
What's up, Kansas City? It's Mitchell Schwartz. You know, there's nothing easier to enjoy than watching the Chiefs with some wings and an ice-cold Bud Light. And Buffalo Wild Wings is serving up both for every game, all season long. Join me at the Buffalo Wild Wings located off 105th and Metcalf in Overland Park on Friday, December 13th. I'll be there with the crew from 6 to 8 p.m. celebrating the back-to-back Super Bowl champs while eating some wings and drinking $5 Bud Lights. Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. For more details, go to 965thefan.com. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The holidays are happening at Diamonds Direct. Still rushing to finish your holiday shopping? Don't worry, we've got you covered. This weekend only, it's our last chance sale with 20% off virtually everything. Earrings, bracelets, pendants, and more. Plus special financing options up to 5 years. But don't wait. This is your final opportunity to find the perfect gift at the best value before the holidays. Plus special designer appearances. Visit us during extended holiday hours or shop online and pick up in store. Our 20% off last chance sale ends Sunday. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Listen to the Chiefs and Browns game on Sunday with pregame starting at 9, kickoff at noon with Mitch, Danan, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Coming up in about 12 minutes or so, we'll get into the latest ideas that are floating around the NFL that could change the way we watch, change the way coaches handle the officiating. That's coming up in just a bit. But it is time. Fantasy football playoffs underway, beginning tonight. So we got to go to our guy, Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and FantasyLife.com. As always, presented by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. It is go time, man. It is full-on go time. Hopefully those listening are still around in their league. And we've got some injuries to navigate. Let's start with New Orleans because some people maybe have recently picked up an MVS or they've obviously been relying on an Alvin Kamara. But Derek Carr's got a broken hand on a non-throwing hand, and he's got a concussion. What the heck's going on there?
Yeah, he's not going to go. We don't know for sure if they're going to go Jake Haener or Spencer Rattler, but I don't think it really matters in either case. The Saints offense, there's been a lot of talk about the Detroit defense with 13 players on IR. Saints offense, 7 players on injured reserve in the Saints offense. Alvin Kamara is really the tricky guy, right? I mean, everybody else, I think it's pretty easy to say, it's the fantasy playoffs. Do not put your success in the hands of Jake Haener. That's pretty easy. But Kamara, on the other hand, is a little trickier, right? So here's my worry. They play Washington. If you're Washington this week, don't you just play to take Alvin Kamara away and make somebody else beat you? And that's my concern. That's what I would do here. In the 3 games Derek Carr missed earlier this year, Kamara only averaged 39 rushing yards and 31 receiving yards per game. He only scored 1 time. So, you probably don't have the luxury of a deep enough roster where you can bench Kamara. But boy, I've only got a flex level start on him, and it may be that you've got somebody else that has that's got a little more upside than Alvin Kamara does in the game that could end up going really badly for him.
Charch, what if you got stuck? Like, let's say you're in the playoffs, but you did it in spite of quarterback, and you're like, well, I can't start Haener. Let's say the fantasy quarterbacks who you know the name who could be available that really haven't been starter worthy. Who do you like this week? Kirk Cousins, C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert, Geno Smith, that crowd.
My guy is Will Levis.
Will
Levis is why? Yes, I know, right? Will Levis. I said, oh God. Yeah. So here's where Levis quietly for the last month, actually even a little bit more than a month, Will Levis has turned into a non-awful quarterback. So he's at that step of his progression where a little bit like Bryce Young, where he stopped making the eye-rollingly bad plays and he's starting to make pretty good ones. And listen to the playoff schedule for Will Levis. Cincinnati this week. That is the worst defense in the NFL right now. At Indianapolis and then Jacksonville. Will Levis has a chance. And by the way, Calvin Ridley. If I had to pick like one player to be just like this bolt out of nowhere playoff superhero, I think I would pick Calvin Ridley for that same reason. Levis is playing decent ball, and the schedule's just so favorable. That's my sneaky, like, under the radar players right there.
It's definitely under the radar. That scares the crap out of me, though, for my fantasy football play.
Sometimes it's your luck, but if you're up against the best team, Charge, why not throw a Hail Mary?
That's true. That's very, very true.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's for underdogs, right? If you're slated to lose by double-digit points, and you think that's legit, and you need something special to happen, there's your angle.
We're talking to Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and FantasyLife.com. All right, here's another name that I guess if you're just hoping for, not a miracle, but you need to pull something out of your you-know-what. What about the Raiders' backfield situation? I picked up this guy after he played the Chiefs 2 weeks ago. Sincere McCormick. Had never heard of the dude until he played the Chiefs and looked good. He's coming off another really good performance. Look, I guess if you got some bad running back injuries, is he someone that you can actually rely on this week?
Yeah, and he's going to be the starter going forward. So they've made an official depth chart change. Now, I'm interested in people with adjectives for first names, like Sincere McCormick. I'm going to shoot you a couple. What do you think? Just tell me what you think of these people.
Okay.
Sterling Sharp.
Well, he should be a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
He should be. Probably should be. When his brother went in the Hall of Fame, Shannon, he said, I'm the only guy in the Hall of Fame whose brother is a better football player than I am.
That's an unbelievable
And
moment.
there's
That
some truth
clip
to that.
is really good. Yeah, that's a really good clip, an emotional clip. Yeah.
That was good. How about this? Sonny Hostin, co-host of The View. Are you guys big View watchers?
It turns out, as a man at 40 years old, not a big View watcher, but never not seen it. So, name seems fine.
Okay. All right. Okay. How about Christian Bale? Star of the best movie ever made.
I was going to say, yeah, very talented.
Very talented. There's your adjective first name people that I'm interested in. Here's what we're talking about. Sincere McCormick, 5.5 yards per carry. He's basically running at double the efficiency of Alexander Madison and Zamir White were. And yards after contact, 3.7. You guys saw him run. The guy can run hard. So he's going to play this week, Atlanta. This is a defeated team reeking with the stench of defeat on it. Aaron Jones scored against Atlanta last week. Over the past 6 weeks, they're giving up almost 5 yards per carry. I like Sincere McCormick here. He is my running back. Wow, but hang on, I don't have this in front of me. Sincere McCormick, my running back 22 this week.
Charge, how about a running back that you and I think have been high on since the draft going back to being here, and he was coming off of 3 tremendous fantasy football games. Bucky Irving, what happened last week? And can we start him against the Chargers this week? I mean, is it just like, is it bench Bucky Irving time?
Well, okay. So, Bucky Irving's freaking awesome on talent. He's one of the 5 best backs in the NFL. He's constantly battling injury, unfortunately, and that's the situation right now. It's a foot at this moment. It all depends to me on if he can just get completely off the injury report. I feel pretty good about him, and I'm going to move him up my rankings. And but if he stays on it, then I worry about more the frustrating timeshare, him being in and out. By the way, it's a back and hip injury this time around. It was foot earlier. So we're just going to have to watch the injury here. But the thing is, he's just so good. Anytime he's on the field, I've got some interest in him. It's the Chargers coming up. That is not an easy run defense, and that you got to factor that into the equation a little bit here too. But just on talent, I love Bucky Irving, and I want to see him on the field as much as we can. He is my running back 19 this week.
Charge, I hate to say it because I'm up against this player in my fantasy football playoffs. And by the way, I'm curious what you think about this because you tend to like fantasy leagues in which you control your destiny. In this league, the top seeds get to choose their opponent. So the number 1 seed gets to choose to face any of the playoff teams below him, including the 2 seed. Okay. Whoever he wants, he gets to call out essentially for his matchup. So the team first, do you like? Yeah, that's fun, right? The team I'm up against has Adam Thielen. Am I in for trouble?
Thielen's what a fantastic story this is. I think there's a chance he pulls off a nice playoff run for your team here. Bryce Young playing so much better, and as alluded to earlier, Dave Canales will not win Coach of the Year, but he should be in the conversation. Thielen has been back from his hamstring injury for 3 weeks. The first week he got eased back. Then 2 weeks ago, 99 yards and a touchdown, and it should have been 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he got jobbed on a touchdown on that one. And then last week, 9 catches, 102 yards for Adam Thielen. Here comes Dallas. Opposing number 1 receivers pounding the Cowboys. Jamar Chase was berserk last week, 177 yards, 14 catches. Terry McLaurin the week before that, 100 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown the week before that, 109 yards. So I really like this matchup for Thielen, and he is absolutely fantasy startable in the playoffs, and he's turned into a bankable asset. It's a great story for a player. I'm here in Minnesota where, his story is well known. We love Adam Thielen. He's my wide receiver 18 this week.
We're talking to Paul Charchian of Guillotine Leagues and FantasyLife.com. All right, a couple stardom sit-em from the text line. Flex spots, 2 of them for a PPR league. Someone's got Khalil Shakir, Brian Thomas, or they can pick between Sincere McCormick and Darnell Mooney. Who are the 2 flexes?
That's a lot of variables right there. But Darnell Mooney is basically the number 1 receiver. I think he and Drake London by fantasy points are basically tied. Mooney's never getting, I think, really enough respect overall. And I would try to work Mooney in against the Raiders, and that is obviously a favorable matchup. And then maybe Khalil Shakir if you're the favorite, especially, because Shakir is so safe. He's got the 85% catch rate on balls thrown to him. He's incredibly slippery after the catch. He's just not explosive. So, if you're cool with like 6 catches, 70 yards. That's Khalil Shakir. Although he was explosive last week, had a really nice long touchdown, but generally not. So, I guess I would mix it that way. I think I would go Shakir and Mooney and give you one high upside guy in Mooney and one just safe guy in Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, because Brian Thomas has been awesome this year, but Mac Jones is throwing him the football now, right?
Yeah, that's the whole problem. And I've got Brian Thomas down at wide receiver 40 because of exactly that.
Charge, Rams at 49ers tonight. Garrindo says he's going to try to play despite the ankle. Does that mean we're not starting fifth-string running back Patrick Taylor? Because at this point, I do not care how far down the depth chart you are. If you're the starting running back for the 49ers, I will play you.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? Now, the problem with Garrindo is constantly injured in college, despite barely playing. It always hurt. Then he gets one game as the 49ers starter, and he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And so, you've got it's a super dangerous situation. Garrindo might not last more than a few plays, or he could play the whole game and just dominate just like he did last week. Had 120 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. So I think, to me, it's like this. If you are an underdog, start Garrindo, hope he makes it through the full game against a middle-of-the-pack Rams defense. If you're a favorite, then maybe you play somebody safer than Garrindo and just try to secure your lead. Your sneaky angle in this game at running back might be Deebo Samuel.
Ooh, okay.
Got 5 runs last week, more than any game since opening week, and Samuel's good for almost 6 yards per carry. So, Samuel, I think gets an uptick in work here, even if Garrindo's healthy. I think Samuel's had a bad year, but this between receiving and rushing in this game, I think he becomes a fantasy factor in your playoff game.
Last one for you, Charge. Puka Nacua, just going off the last couple of weeks. He had 17 touches. Is he fully back? Are we good to go here? Or is there some concern there?
Well, the only concern here is that do they put a little rest into his schedule just because he was so active and hurt on and off throughout the game last week? He ran routes on all but 3 dropbacks last week. And Cooper Kupp's got a nice matchup. High-end slot receivers are really hitting the 49ers hard. So I think they may dial back Puka. You got to start him, obviously. He's great. He's been basically fantasy football's second-best wide receiver this year when healthy, behind only Jamar Chase. But I do think we're going to see them dial things back and try to emphasize Cooper Kupp in this particular matchup tonight.
Paul Charchian of GuillotineLeagues.com. Charch, we appreciate it. Hopefully all of us have fantasy playoff teams remaining next week.
And Guillotine Leagues go unchopped.
Yeah. May all of us survive, Charch. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thank you. Talk to you next week.
You got it. Paul Charchian, presented by Twin Peaks. Eat, drink, scenic views. And, congrats to our 3 listeners that are still around in our Cody and Gold garage sale. I did it the other day, too. I don't know why. Guillotine League. Yeah. I don't know. I've done that twice in the last 24 hours.
I'm a little disappointed. That bye week really killed me. Looking back at having Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, and Josh Allen was a pretty loaded Guillotine League lineup, but then they were all on bye.
That's the name of the game. You got to survive.
I should have planned my bye. Look, I'm not even making excuses. I should have planned my bye better.
The listeners that are left, congrats to, I'll read the team names. Bob and Weave.
Okay.
I guess, can I say this on the air?
I think you can say it.
Meat Beater.
They could just work at a butcher shop.
Gold's team. You're welcome. Very creative name by
Super
myself.
creative.
And Get Your Butker Back into Kitchen. Those are the 4 teams that are alive in our Cody and Gold Guillotine League.
Bold names.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get lessons either, Cody, right? Because I remember there was one person that offered up if you would have beaten them, their wife would have given you singing lessons for free.
Actually, I think that guy at some point claimed that his wife would still maybe give me lessons. I got knocked out 5, it feels like forever ago now, and it was only 3 weeks ago.
That's what happens.
I forgot I even had a team, guys.
My team.
3 Guillotine Leagues I'm in the Final 4. Very fortunate. First time that's ever happened.
That week, I had Josh Allen, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase on bye, and I should have started Keenan Allen. What a disappointment. I didn't have Isaiah Pacheco back. Fantasy's tough, I'm in a couple of fantasy playoffs. Will I win? Who's to say?
What's your fantasy? Might have to do that next week.
Yeah, you know what? For fantasy playoff time,
what's your fantasy next Thursday?
Plus, it's cuffing season, so
That it is.
Did not think I would hear Cody say that today on the show.
They can have this cookie.
Okay. All righty. Calm down over there. Calm down.
Just leaving it out there. You and I both are excited about one potential rule Troy Vincent mentioned yesterday. Not the, we can get back into if we want, the potential of video replay assist on face mask. But they, once again, Troy Vincent, bringing up my favorite rule change I'm begging for. The alternative to the onside kick. Please. The onside kick is a not exciting play with an improbably low success percentage chance. Give me a 4th and 20. If you convert it, you get the ball. If you don't, the game is over. Whatever. You don't. But give me an alternative to an onside kick that provides some level of ability to convert it, because they neutered the onside kick with all of the rules, and it's only gotten worse because now you have to declare it, and it's only you can't do anything with it. It only exists in the last second of the very last part of the game, and it's such a low probability play. It's not even fun. It is an unfun play. And so, like, I desperately want Troy Vincent to find some way to get this in.
This has been proposed multiple times before. It was proposed in 2019, 2020, and 2021, and then they haven't really brought it up as they didn't have the votes to make it pass. But I definitely am interested in this. You know, instead of attempting an onside kick, you convert a 4th and 20, you get 20 yards, then you get the ball. Way more likely to convert that, but still not so likely that it's going to happen every single time. But that play, you know how exciting that one play would be? And penalty rules would apply. You know, the penalties would still be there. So if you get a DPI, that's my question, I guess. Is it the exact same? Like, can I get an automatic first down on that play off a penalty? That's my question. Or should they?
Yeah, like if it's 4th and 20 from the 20, do I just have it at the 40 now? After I complete the 20-yard, right. I kind of like that. I'm not gonna lie.
But the penalty, the penalty would have to still apply,
because that's where you would get
right?
it on the onside kick.
You'd still have to have the penalty, otherwise someone would. So if it's a pass interference automatic first down, that still probably applies. Otherwise, defenders will just purposely.
I think you have to have the penalty in place. Although I would be willing to make an exception for holding, defensive holding. But
but a defender's going to purposely hold if they know they're for sure getting beat.
Can we just make it worth 10 yards instead of 5, but it's not an auto first down?
I guess.
Because you can't do it twice, right?
So it would become 4th and 10 then.
Yeah. So now you're putting me in a much more advantageous position.
But
you hold me one more time and I get the first down.
I don't know if I like that, though, because it still is allowing the defender, like, if they know they are beat, they can still hold, and they're like, oh, we'll live to fight another day kind of thing, versus getting burned. I think you just got to call it the same way you would normally call it, and that's where
just don't hold.
somebody might convert it on a 4th and 20.
It's not that crazy. Don't pass interfere and don't hold. I will say, those are going to turn into the underthrown deep balls.
Yeah.
Like a play that all of us are kind of like, is that even a skill play? Or are you just like, underthrown deep balls will become king in the new scenario. But part of the reason I'll admit that I wanted is selfish reasons. Who do you think, if I had to line up all the quarterbacks in the league, who do you think is statistically most likely to complete a 4th and 20?
Of course, Patrick Mahomes.
And Josh Allen's too. And so, like, because his legs. And so, all right. Yeah, I understand it's an advantage for Kansas City.
You think he'd run 20 yards?
Having a great quarterback, I just think that maybe. If there's a quarterback who'd run 20 yards just running 4 guys over in an attempt to get a first down, it's
just a mobility thing.
Yeah,
you need to basically do a scramble drill kind of thing, too, if you had to, I guess.
Someone says 4th and 20, no way. 4th and 35, at least.
4th and 35.
What are the odds?
4th and 35. They were wasting our time as well.
I mean, what's a conversion rate on 4th and 20? 5%?
I think it's higher than that. Maybe.
I mean, it can't be more than 15, right?
Someone says, what if they score on 4th and 20? Well, it's a touchdown.
Yeah, it's a touchdown.
It's basically you're starting a possession like it is 4th and 20.
That's how I feel about it.
So do you think it actually might be better then, instead of going for the first down, just, hey, you know what? Hey, Xavier Worthy, we're going to go for this deep shot, and you're going to get the ball, and you're going to go for a touchdown. You're the fastest guy on the field.
Well,
the
rule would be you still couldn't go for it unless it's the 4th quarter and you're down. Like, it's not like that's why. I mean, it's not where the Chiefs can be up by 10 and decide to do that instead of kick the ball. It would still have to be you're down by a touchdown in the 4th quarter.
So
and
you can't just do it whenever. I do have the stats up as of 2 years ago. Okay. They only managed them up to 15 plus. So anything 15 or longer on 4th down, the conversion rate in the NFL is 13.9%. That seems about right to me.
So 4th and 15 is what it should be then.
Come on, that seems pretty good. So 4th and 20 is probably down to like 12%. Onside kicks happen at a 3% ratio. I'm increasing the likelihood significantly. But it's not, in some of those games, they're probably completing 4th and 15 when they're like dead in the water. And the team's pretty much just playing prevent. Like they're still down 2 scores and they can't do anything with it.
The only downside of this at all would be the penalty part, which is how many of these when somebody has a DPI and they go from being, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden it's a fresh set of downs and they're good to go.
I think it would turn into more of a Hail Mary sort of situation where they just wouldn't call it. If it's 4th and 20,
disagree with that. No, because they're not doing an actual Hail Mary. They would have to call it like a normal play.
You're saying like the Bengals-Chiefs game.
Yeah, don't be an idiot.
Yeah, don't. I mean, the thing is,
but if you're down by
don't hold if it's 4th and 20. That's that's an easy enough.
If you're down by a touchdown though, and there's 30 seconds left to go in the game, and if you get an onside kick, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, like you basically have to say we're going to throw a Hail Mary. You almost have to. You can't just go 20 yards. It might not be enough to just go 20.
I guess
depending on how much time's left in the game, yes.
Well, yeah.
But that same problem exists. If you only have 7 seconds left, the onside kick's really not going to do for you anything anyway. Same risk applies.
Yeah, you're saying it in like if there's only 10 seconds on the clock. Otherwise, I'm like, no, you don't need to do a Hail Mary. You need 20 yards. But I see what you're saying.
Like, it's supposed to be a long shot. I understand. So, like, they're like saying 15% is way too high.
It's not 15%, though, really. It's actually like 10.
It's going to be more like 10. And in the NFL, in the last 30 years, and Hail Mary attempts inside the 50. So, Hail Mary, right? We all agree. They have to throw the ball 50 yards. This is the longest of long shots. 1 in 13 can complete. It's the same odds as a Hail Mary. So you got to hit a Hail Mary and then still drive down the field and score, right? I mean, this doesn't seem that crazy to me, and at least it is an interesting play. If you're a Chiefs fan, you should really want it.
Someone says, Cody said, our onside kicks aren't wasting time, but a 4th and 30 would be. Yeah, because if we all agree onside kicks are a waste of time, I don't want to replace it with something that's also a waste of time. So, yes, I think
I want to increase the odds.
I think a 4th and 30 would be wasting our time. Just keep the onside kicks. But 4th and 20, there's a chance, and it's still not a likely chance, but a chance it's converted. So, yeah, why would we replace something that's a waste of time with another waste of time?
Someone does say, and this is a good point, Why Not over on Twitch says, how about if it's converted on a penalty, then you only get the ball at the 20 or the 30? You don't get like the full. I just think you get if it's a 5-yard penalty, you just get 5 yards. If it, you know what I'm saying? Like,
what's not clear on this proposal.
If it's a spot foul, I think it's a spot foul.
What's not clear on the proposal is do you do the 4th and 20 from where you would normally do the onside kick or not?
I think you got to scoot them way back.
This is also an untimed down.
Way back.
These are all things we don't have the answers to.
Because I think to that point of
shouldn't be untimed. Should not be untimed as far as I'm concerned.
I think it's time off the clock. I think you got to play the clock in a way. You got to leave yourself enough time to convert that play. And if you don't, well, then essentially it is a Hail Mary situation. You have the ball with a chance to score and possess it, and there's 3 seconds left.
Yeah,
right.
The reason why it can't be untimed is let's say there's 3 seconds left, and if it's untimed, I convert to 20 yards and I'm starting at the 40. Well, then I'm just kicking a game-winning field goal off of one play. Like that's insane. Or untimed, to your point, Drew. Like they throw it 45 yards and they've got the ball at the opponent 30 or 20, and no time went off the clock, and so they only had 1 second technically, but they really were able to run a 15-second play or something. Like it can't be untimed.
So I think it's got to be clock has to count.
So basically, if you have under 20 seconds left, you're screwed. Regardless.
You can spike a ball.
Unless you can throw the ball 70 yards.
You can complete a pass for 40 yards and clock it in less than 20. You can't do it in way less than that, but Patrick Mahomes drove the entire length of the field in 13. So, like, you
and we're also still not trying to make this very easy. It's still supposed to be very challenging to pull it off.
It's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
We don't want to start seeing any team that's down 2 touchdowns comes back easily.
No.
But it gives you also another, like if it's a 3-touchdown game, there's at least a chance. If somebody's down 3 touchdowns and with 5 minutes to go, they get a touchdown, under the current format, the game's still over. Under this rule, there's a chance that they get the 4th and 20 and then they're only 30 yards away, 40 yards away from getting another touchdown. It makes the game a little more interesting while still making sure it's a challenge.
I do think it would be very funny to see Milton, the guy that can throw the ball 80 yards, or like Anthony Richardson, like, hey, dude, we have 8 seconds left. You have to throw the ball to the end zone. We need you to throw the ball 75 yards with pads on.
That'd be fun.
That would be very interesting.
It would be. I mean, we've seen Hail Marys before. It's not like it's not like
80-yard ones, but
that would be insane.
We've definitely seen. Yeah, I don't know where they would put the ball to start. These are questions that we don't have the answer to yet. All right, coming up next, guys, we'll get to what's trending. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that's coming out of Bill Belichick's press conference and what the Royals could be doing in left field.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
Hey investors, this is JD again with Crossroads Investment Lending. Still wanting to get in that fix and flip game? Don't have the money? Maybe you've always wanted to get yourself a rental property. We can help you get in the door. Call the fix and flip guys at Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900, or go to kclend.com. That's kclend.com. Get started in the fix and flip game. What are you waiting for? That's Crossroads Investment Lending, 913-766-2900 or kclend.com.
GimmeTheVin.com. Our expert buying team knows exotics, luxury cars, classics, diesels, lifted stuff, hot rods, inside and out. We buy them at GiveMeTheVin.com. It's a one-stop shop to get into a pool of absolute experts. Join my YouTube channel, John Clay Wolf. GimmeTheVin.com. They don't call me America's best car buyer for nothing.
Sell us your car. GimmeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
It's Thirsty Thursday at Hy-Vee. Time to stock up the bar and fill up your tank. Earn 50 cents per gallon fuel savings on every $50 purchase of wine, beer, hard seltzer, and spirits. Mix and match all your favorite libations and get a 50-cent fuel saver with every $50 purchase. Stack up the savings and your next fill-up could be free. Don't miss Thirsty Thursday at your Kansas City, Missouri Hy-Vee. Product or promotion differs by location. Offers valid where legal, available while supplies last.
I can't wait to watch the Chiefs go up and down the field and score a ton of points this year. And now I have even more reason to cheer on the Chiefs. I just head to Hy-Vee the day after any game and score savings at the pump with my Hy-Vee Perks card. Win or lose, I earn fuel saver discounts equal to the Chiefs score based on the amount I spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, I save 42 cents a gallon when I spend $42. The more we score, the more I save, only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in-store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details. Tackle the NFL action on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/610Bob. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com/610Bob. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help's your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. This holiday season, make Park and Go your go-to for airport parking. With all covered parking, you'll return to a car that's safe from the snow and ice. The best part, Park and Go shuttle service is ready and waiting for you and your family the moment you park. No standing around in the cold. Fast, hassle-free, and open 24/7, Park and Go offers top-notch service at the lowest price. See why me and my family will only use Park and Go when we travel. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. From our family to yours, happy holidays from Park and Go.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
Pro Paint Days are back at Lowe's, and that means limited time savings on the paint pros need. Right now, save $15 on 5-gallon pails of HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams All-Purpose Power Primer. Plus, get it delivered to your job site with free same-day delivery when you order by 2 p.m. Visit us in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows paint. Lowe's knows pros. Valid through 12/20, delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com and tune into the inaugural season beginning January 7th. Keep up, it's golf.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Our Best Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Our Best. We believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. A little update from Chiefs practice. DJ Humphrey's not practicing again. The fact that it's a Thursday, we've seen this long enough. It's like a 5% chance that he actually plays on Sunday.
The chance of getting an onside kick, roughly.
Yeah, the question remains, so what's the plan? Wanye or Joe Tooney at left tackle? We don't know. I think we all think it would be Wanye again, based off of them willing to put him back in the game against the Chargers on that final drive last week, but we don't know for sure. But that's where things stand. Otherwise, they seem to be pretty healthy or getting healthier. Butker's practicing. Hollywood Brown was in Colorado yesterday, having an appointment with his doctor. We'll see if he gets cleared officially or not to start practicing.
Ideally, he will. Obviously, they'll take one more weapon back. But I actually, as we talked about with Worthy earlier, I feel a lot better about their weapons this year than I did last year. The offensive line is what I feel worse about. Next up on What's Trending, a couple of college coaches not named Bill Belichick. Rich Rodriguez is back at West Virginia after a 17-year hiatus from being with their squad. And Dan Mullen has agreed to a new 5-year deal to become the head coach at UNLV.
What an amazing time in college football. Some of these names that are coaching again.
I am just blown away. By some of the names, like Bill Belichick and Rich Rod, and I'm like, what world am I in?
Mm-hmm. We'll talk more about Belichick after What's Trending. His press conference is going on right now. He's cracking some jokes.
His AD put on a suit jacket that he cut the sleeves off of.
A sleeveless suit.
What a dork.
Bubba Cunningham.
What a dork, Bubba Cunningham.
Bubba Cunningham, who was once a candidate to be the KU AD before he took the North Carolina job back in, I'm talking about the Shan Zinger days, which reminds me when KU hired Charlie Weiss, Shan Zinger was like, our program needed a power surge. That power surge is Charlie Weiss. It's like, I was hoping Bubba Cunningham was going, we need a power surge, and that power surge is Bill Belichick.
The first thing Bill Belichick said, which was smart, was beat Duke.
Yeah, Duke. That is a priority. That definitely is a priority. Next on What's Trending, the Denver Broncos have ensured that Bo Nix's blind side is going to be protected for a while with quality left tackle play. Garrett Bowles gets a 4-year extension with the Denver Broncos, over $40 million of which are guaranteed.
So I'll say this. The Denver Broncos, I think kind of inarguably, have had the single best offensive line in football. Do you know that now 4 of their 5 offensive linemen are locked up through 2026? Left guard is the only spot they do not have locked up through that season. So they got at least 2.5 more years, Gold, of left tackle, right guard, and center. So all they're remaining is one guard who's not under contract. They like this offensive line they're planning on keeping together. I think Harbaugh, Jim, not John, a week or two ago had said something that was very obvious when he was talking about how did you guys turn this around? Or maybe it's Payton. I can't remember who, but it was a current NFL head coach. He said, I've never seen a bad team with a good offensive line. And I think there's a lot of truth in that we've seen with these young quarterbacks like Bryce Young and some of these other guys who have struggled lately. They're doing right by Bo Nix by just protecting his ass. That'll go a long way. They've had the best offensive line all season.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold. We'll get to the Royals in a second, but I want to talk more about Bill Belichick, who is being introduced and having his press conference right now at North Carolina, where he's signing a 5-year deal there. And, yeah, I mean, he's been asked already what we were wondering, which is like basically, you know, what do you say to those that are worried that you would go back to the NFL? I don't think that's in the – I would just wonder if he would leave and just let his son coach. I don't think he's going to leave to go back to the NFL. He said he didn't come there to leave. He also was asked just about why he took the job.
I've always wanted to coach in football, coaching college football, and it just never really worked out.
I had this guy
some
named
good
Tom
years
Brady.
in the NFL, so that was okay. But this is really kind of a dream come true. I grew up in college football with my dad. As a coach at Navy for 50 years, so as a kid, all I knew was college football, and so it's great to come back home to Carolina and. Back in an environment that I really grew up in.
Got that Michael Jordan brand money behind the program, man. That's also part of it.
Look, it's confusing. It'll always be confusing to me. But, yeah, I didn't think – like, the last thing I would worry about is him leaving. This is it.
For the NFL.
Bill Belichick
I would worry about him
coach,
just quitting at some point and just saying, all right, my son's taking over.
Yeah, Bill Belichick was never going back to the NFL. He's 72 years old. I think he might coach 5 or 6 years at North Carolina. It wouldn't surprise me because the whole thing – I think Bill, this part of the reason I think he took the college job is he didn't get in the NFL ones last year. And I don't think he liked the feeling of not coaching. We've seen this before. We've seen it at a Bill Snyder and, I mean, this name's gross now, but Paterno, whatever, right? The people who leave the sport, some of them don't do well when they leave the sport. Now, he didn't leave and come back. He just left the latter one. But when you talk about it I think Bill probably got a year off Gold and he was like, this ain't for me. This life of not coaching football, not watching film, this isn't for me. I got to coach. I need to stay busy. Doesn't everybody have like a relative who won't retire? My mother-in-law, I don't know if she'll ever retire.
Yeah, there's some people
I thought she was
like
supposed
that.
to retire like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
She may never retire. Some people just don't work that way.
Yeah, some people don't. You know, they don't know what to do without it. It's what their whole life has been, and obviously that's the case for Belichick. It's clear he's going to run that program like an NFL team. And in the past, like 5 years ago, you would have said that doesn't work. This will be an interesting case study, but also I think it's going to work. Because that's where college football is trending, that these are truly becoming semi-professional, if not professional, sports and teams and programs. You're going to have a GM that handles the scouting and the recruiting, essentially the signing of players, because that's what we're really, truly talking about here. Having a capologist to manage the $20 million NIL budget every year and how you navigate that. And then you're going to have your coach. And that's one thing we know Belichick can do.
Yeah.
And so for those that wonder, like, can he relate to the college kid? From a recruiting angle, I don't think you have to worry about that. It's more of like, how does he handle it on the day-to-day basis, coaching a college kid that's obviously going to take some more coaching than a 28-year-old that's been in the league for a while. That'll be the intriguing part. But if this works at all, you're going to have other programs mimic it. You're going to see more really experienced NFL ties to college programs. You're going to have a former NFL GM become the GM of a college team. You're going to have a former NFL head coach go back to college because the guys that are leaving college football don't know what the hell to do with this new NIL stuff, whereas the NFL, they're like, yeah, I'm used to managing salary caps, and I'm used to – they're going to have these teams set up like NFL teams.
It is kind of
that's
crazy,
why
though,
it could work.
Because Bill had, like, reportedly in the Seth Wickersham thing, he had really complained about, like, the politics of the NFL. I'm like, man, have you seen college football? Like, you don't just have the $20 million because you have an NFL owner. You have $20 million because you kissed enough asses of people who used to go to the University of North Carolina who became doctors and stuff. You kissed enough billionaire asses to donate to your school. I mean, that's legitimately how you have to get them. That's how you have to get the money for your program.
He got also reassurances when he got hired that basically they were going to up the NIL budget. It's going to be like a top 10 NIL budget in college football.
That had to be the easiest check. And North Carolina's defense, so Bill might not have to fight with that the same. When you go to your normal boosters, the people who donate money to your school, and you're like, hey, just real quick, we have to guarantee the coach we want a certain amount of NIL money, which means we need money from you. And they're like, well, who's the guy you got in mind? Bill freaking Belichick. And you're like,
Sign me up.
I gotta say that would be a fairly easier check for the University of North Carolina to secure from their donors.
Yeah, I think
because
there'll be,
just the name alone would drag.
I think there'll be some similarities to Deion in Colorado. Not until how they go about their business with the media, but just how they're going to run the program and how they're going to handle recruiting and what the coach's job is compared to everybody else on staff. Bill Belichick's not going to small town, South Carolina to go talk to a recruit. That recruit's going to talk to somebody else, the GM or whoever on staff, and sell Belichick to them without Belichick having to actually go on the visit. Deion doesn't go, and he was criticized for it, but I bet you they'll do the same thing. It's probably pretty rare that Belichick will actually go anywhere.
I mean, it didn't stop him from getting top talent. Deion Sanders not going there. Maybe do a phone call, maybe do those things. I don't know, man. It's kind of crazy because, again, there is a 6-year age difference between Bill Belichick and Andy Reid. And they talk about Andy Reid like he's getting ready to walk out. I'll be honest. I think some of this is dead serious. I think that this is biased because of his weight.
Yeah, people assume he's
like Bill Belichick looks like Myles Garrett, and he's just got like a 15-pack when he takes his shirt off or something. I think some of this is because the big jovial guy, and they're like, well, I mean, no way he can coach 6 more years. And I just don't think that's true. If I made you set an over-under, how about this, Gold? You bet a lot. We all do this stuff. If Vegas had to and was asked to set an over-under on the number of years Andy Reid had left coaching the Kansas City Chiefs, what do you think they would set the number?
3.5.
And I
would take the over. Yeah.
I agree. I think they'd probably set it like 3.5, and I'd take the over. They could make it 4.5 or 5.5, and I might take
I'm with
the
you.
over.
No, I'm with you. I also think from while we're talking about that, how does success determined for Belichick at North Carolina? I mean, with the expanded college football playoff field, I do not think it's crazy to think if he stays there all 5 years, at least, that he's not going to get them there. I don't know in year one. That's a big ask. A lot has to happen. It's college football. As we saw this year, you can have a pretty good year and still not get in. But he's also in the ACC, guys. They're not asking Bill Belichick to jump in the SEC and go right away.
Start taking on Bama.
You're telling me he can't be in the year or so right there with Clemson, Miami, and I guess SMU in this year's case?
Why not? He can't confuse SMU's quarterbact to get a win. I mean, I'm just serious.
I think it would be really
impressive.
impressive.
There's a talent thing in college.
It would be really impressive if he was competing for an ACC title in year one, to me.
Yeah, in year one, but within the 5-year stretch,
100%.
I think he gets North Carolina to a college football playoff if he coaches all 5 years.
They're also just not like a joke school. Like Mac Brown's been there for like 6 years. They've pretty much been a 7 or 8 or 9 win, about a 7 or 8 win team pretty much every year. I think Belichick's worth a couple of wins in that department, which means instead of a 7-win team every year, they're a 9-win team every year, which means one in the next 5, win 1 additional game or 2 additional games. And because you get 12 teams in the college football playoff and your name is Bill Belichick, and let's not pretend this part of it. Let's just say hypothetically, North Carolina's right on the fringe. I mean, just really feels like they could be 13 or 14. They're going to be 12. I don't know how to break this to anybody else in any other conference.
After what we just saw.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Dude,
that's only
it's Bill Belichick. It's one of the 5 coaches in college football that maybe have name recognition.
I hear you, but by that logic, and I thought that's how the committee would handle. By that logic, Alabama would have been in, Colorado would have been in. You know what I mean?
Well, Colorado, but not. You got to be close enough. Colorado wasn't close enough.
I hear you, but we'll see. I mean, this is going to be a really fascinating kind of case study, and if it works, then you're going to see other programs, I think, really replicate it. So Bill Belichick introduced officially today as the next head coach at North Carolina. Let's talk a little Royals baseball briefly, though, before we get out of here on a Thursday. That's because there's some reports from Ken Rosenthal that both Michael Massey and Jonathan India would be willing to play left field if needed. We had Vern on a couple weeks ago. Vern, pretty confident that Jonathan India is playing second base, and I obviously agree with Vern on that. They don't trade to me for a leadoff hitter in Jonathan India if they're trading for him and then going to find out later if he can play left field when he's never played any other position in the big leagues other than second. I think Jonathan India is a second baseman for this club, which means Michael Massey, if you want to become more valuable and you want to continue to provide us versatility, we need you to learn left field. You need to be, and you're open to it, great. I think it's a smart move for everybody involved. If all of a sudden that works out, then you have flexibility with who you go and acquire the rest of this offseason, who you might be willing to trade this offseason. Whether it's Melendez, whether it's holding on to Melendez, whether it's trading Massey, whatever it may be, there's a lot of options that gives you. But I think Jonathan India is going to be the second baseman for this team.
I think so too, but I want to make one argument that I think at least they should consider. If both guys are willing to play left field, and both guys you are comfortable with playing second base, why not just see who's better at left field? Take them at their word. and throw both guys in left field and see who has a natural aptitude for it. Because both guys are fine at second. Michael Massey was in contention for a Gold Glove one year. He's a very good second baseman.
My thing is, I don't think Jonathan India can play left field. I don't think he can play.
So I actually think Michael Massey would be a better fit for left too. All I'm saying is, what's the harm in finding out? Shoving both guys out there with an outfield coach and seeing who can play it.
Because it might impact the move you want to make in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah. But otherwise, 100% with you going into spring training.
I also just think that Michael Massey seems kind of like, he seems like the right kind of player to turn into a utility player. Like, he can't play center, but he can play second. He can play some third. He can play some left. There's some games at DH. Like, obviously Jonathan Indy's not going to play 162 at second, so he gets some there too. Like, it doesn't seem that crazy. It's not hard to find 119 games for Michael Massey across the diamond. And because of the thing you brought up, which is they don't think they can get him through 162 games because of the back, or at least that was the most recent thing. Last year, he played 100 games. The year before, he played 129. Let's just parse it to them in 115 games. You can find that in left, second, third, and I don't know, maybe you're right, or some of the games at second. You can find that across a couple of positions. I say let Massey try it. I guess the other part is, like, really, I think you're asking yourself the question is, who do you think will be a better big leaguer or a more useful big leaguer to your team, Michael Massey or MJ Melendez? You sign Jonathan India, that deal's done.
Yeah.
So who do you think would be a more valuable player to you in the next 2 years? MJ Melendez or Michael Massey? Follow-up question. Who would bring back the most in return?
I think the answer to that is MJ Melendez.
Yeah, and I think the answer to the other one is Michael Massey. It's starting to feel like it's, if you're making a choice,
right? The
choice is made, right?
Potentially. I think it depends again. Do they feel they have to acquire the middle of the order bat that we know they want via trade? And based on some of the reporting, it seems like that's the more likely path, that maybe the market for free agents, whether it's Bregman, et cetera, is going to be too rich for them. And so can they trade away talent in-house to go get that middle of the order bat, whether it's a Taylor Ward, whether it's a Cody Bellinger? These are all just names that have been speculated out there. Who knows? Winter meetings wrap up today. Doesn't mean a deal has to happen. Now, remember, some of the Royals' bigger offseason signings didn't happen until later. Now, a trade, you would think if a trade's going to happen, it probably
Usually
is happening this
talks,
week or so. Free agent signings, those don't happen in January. Those can happen in February.
They're just stuck in a place where they have to make the decisions on, and they've got way more evaluation. Who it is that you like better long term? As a fit for the team and a million other things, Like, they got the same amount of control, essentially, in MJ and Michael Massey. They just got to make a decision on which of the players they like better. I don't think both are on the roster April 1st. Right? I don't think both are on the roster February 1st.
If they are, it means they whiffed on a trade partner for some of the names that are out there. Honestly, I think that's what it means.
Sure.
Or there's some other surprise we just don't know about. I know Michael Garcia had we call it minor surgery on some, what was it? Was it bone fragments or something in his elbow, right? I don't think that's something that's going to keep him out for the season or anything like that. But
he'd probably be back by spring training
hopefully,
for that.
But I don't know. He's another name that could be moved, I guess. We didn't, in this conversation.
And then what? Massey's a full-time third baseman?
I don't know.
I think that would be the case of what you're talking about. Bohm would be here all of a sudden. They'd have a different third baseman.
I still have plenty of interest in Alec Bohm coming to KC. All right, tomorrow, it's a Red Friday in KC. Josh Briscoe going to join us. We'll, of course, have our predictions. We'll have a little fan club Friday. Special guest.
Yeah,
from the Tap family.
That's right.
This will be interesting. Real interesting tomorrow.
How would you like it if there were two of me in the studio?
Oh, is that what's happening? Is that what you're telling me?
You guys are both singing?
No chance of that happening. That's for sure.
No chance.
We're back at it tomorrow. Talk to you guys then.